How's it going, everybody? We're getting ready with the after chat. I didn't do anything fancy. I didn't switch over to the Twitch side because I got too many scenes set up in case RM audio takes up a lot of discussion. This is the after chat. Our whole goal here is to help you, dear viewer, if you have ham radio questions. That's what I'm here for. That's what all the people in the Discord are here for. So avail yourself the best way you can, whether it is chatting in the YouTubes or join us on Discord. The link is in the description. If you do join us on Discord, go to hashtag live-stream. That's the text chat. And two options below that, there is a live-stream / after chat, and that is the voice chat. If you set up speaker and mic on your Discord account, you can join that chat, and then you can talk to us directly, and we can chat back and forth. Because oftentimes, hey, I don't know if you know this, but oftentimes ham radio questions come in the form of a two-way street. It's not as simple as what's the best ham radio for me. More like we got to ask you things like, what's your budget? Where do you live? What do you want to do? Right? It's a back and forth. So, best case, join us in the after chat on the live stream voice, and we can answer your questions as effectively as possible. With that said, let me hop into the after chat.
Nothing to write home about. So, if you're happy at technician, stay at technician. But you only get that small little slice of 10 meters that is an absolute tease. I will say that much. That's probably what's going to bait you into going for general eventually.
I was a technician from 97 until 2016. The same way. 20 years as a tech, I was happy as a clam. And honestly, I only do little bits of HF here and there, but most of my interests are above 2 gigahertz. So it's good to have the slant AG, but hey, if you're happy with tech, more power to you.
How's it going, everybody?
Hey,
We're
Josh.
kicking things off in the after chat here. I appreciate you guys having a great discussion, but want to get things started. So I realize that I don't have my audio thing, so I am going to switch to Twitch. So everybody hang on to your butts. You're going to see a black screen for a second. Hold on. Ready? 1, 2. I don't know if you can still hear me, but everybody on the Discord can still hear me.
5 by 5.
Yeah. All right. We should be back on the other side now. So let's see. Where are we? There we go. Okay. All right, so this is the after chat. Thanks so much for joining us out here. What we'd like to do is, for the folks that are here for the first time, right? So we've coaxed you out of your burrows, your online burrows, and we'd like to answer your questions first. So whomever has joined us for the first time that would like to just introduce yourself, say hi, or ask a question, come now. The floor is yours. Just give your name, call sign, whatever you want to do, and we'll answer your question first.
Hey, I'm Robert. I don't have a call sign yet. I'm still studying for the technician license, and like we were mentioning earlier, I will see how I feel after I get my tech license and watching all of Josh's videos and whatnot. So,
well, that sounds great. I love that you're giving it a shot. Yeah. If you have other questions, feel free to come back. We're here every Saturday, and yeah. Let us know how it goes, okay? Thanks for joining us, by the way.
You're welcome.
All right, who's next? Anybody here? First time, like to say hi or ask a question, come now. Leia bought me a...
I just want to say hello to NDU, Queens, New York.
Hey, how's it going? Your audio's a little low. You might want to bump that audio, but I heard you in there. Thanks for joining us. We really do appreciate it, so thanks for that. All right. Leia did buy me a saison, which is, hold on, can I go overhead with this? I think I have to. Saison du Pont. I didn't get a chance to drink it when I was in Palm Springs, so I brought it home. All right. Anybody else in there who'd like to say hi or ask a question? Come now. Woo! We got a little bit of overrun there. Ooh, that's a heady beer. Ooh. I wasn't paying attention. That got away from me a little bit. All right. East Los Angeles, 86 UP. What's up, man? You're like you're my neighbor, dude. I'm in Cerritos. All right. Let's see. Thank you for liking the stream title as well. Yeah, we're playing around a little bit. All right, so we'll just jump ahead. Let's say hi to our YouTube friends we got in the chat. By the way, we'll come back and say hi to everybody else who has a question. But we got a number of YouTubers in here, and let's just get started with that. Say hi to our friends, and we'll get back to answering your questions. All right, so going down the list, I think it's Chase. What's up, Chase? How you been, man? Oh, Chase
I
might.
walked away from a second to grab a beer.
You want me to skip and come back to you? Or are you back?
Yeah, you can come back to me. I'll be right back.
All right, Frank, you're next. You're on deck. Go for it.
All right, I'm mobile right now. Good evening, one and all. I'm gonna have a few YouTube videos coming out over the next month or so. More park activations, and I want to say a big thank you, Josh. You were one of the. Oh yeah, that's right. You were the 69th contact for the club call yesterday at what turns out to be a twofer park activation. I didn't realize it was a twofer until after I got home and was going through the logs. So you got two parks there in Old Sacramento yesterday. So thank you for that.
Excellent.
And I had lots of fun. I did Saddleback Butte State Park on the 31st, on the 1st, and then Pixley National Wildlife Refuge in the valley of California, down by Fresno, on the 1st as well. And at Pixley, I rolled over the UTC day into the new year. So I had a little live stream that I did for an hour there. And yeah, I'm going to have a lot of video to edit and process and cut and paste and all that fun stuff. So I can't drop a link, but hopefully someone else might be able to right now for my channel. And you'll be getting a lot more video out of me over the next month here. Thanks for everything, Josh, and thanks for being the 69th contact yesterday.
Oh, not a problem. It was my pleasure. So thanks for being out there. All right, next, Gray Man Poto. What are you up to, man?
Oh, just going crazy. I just want to let you know you are the 69th YouTuber that I watched today. Before I went out, I did. I went. I took the Sling Tenna out
cool.
to the park and did a FT8 activation today. So I filmed some of it, but it got dark, and I don't think it's going to be consistent lighting throughout the whole thing. I just got to go with the footage, but yeah, that's just it. Hope you're feeling better. I saw your stream last week.
I still got some funk up in my headspace, and I'm coughing a little bit. I coughed a couple of times in the live stream, but I think we're getting better. So yeah, thanks for joining us out there. And remember, it's not so much the video quality. That's important, but audio is most important with YouTube. I think you know that. So as long as your audio is good, you're generally okay. All right. There was a question. I'm going to answer it really quickly, and then we're going to go to the next in line. Blasco212 asks, would you suggest studying for tech or trying to go for general first? You can't go for general first. You must get your technician first. So you got to take them in order. You got to pass tech, then pass general, then pass extra. In that order. You can't skip. So yes, study your technician. But while you're studying your technician, a lot of the terms are similar. So you might as well try and study for your general at the same time and see if you can pass both of them in one testing session. That's the ham radio crash course trick. All right, very good. Thanks for joining us out there. All right, Gray Man, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Let's see, going down the list. K6ARK. By the way, if I skip any YouTubers, make sure you yell at me. We'll come back to you. What's up, Adam?
Oh, not too much. I am kind of in the same boat as you. I got sick about a week before Christmas, and I am still feeling it. It kicked my butt.
Yeah, and you,
I've been sick in like 4 or 5 years. Literally, I as far as I know, I never got COVID, and I think that may have finally got me. And yeah, it was a rough few days, and then it's just been lingering for a long time. So other than that, I am kind of the beginning of the year is always like a search and rescue training rush, especially because I'm the vice president training officer again. And our reaccreditation every year is the first weekend of March. And this year, it's a snow recert up in the Convict Lake area near Mammoth. And so we've been starting to work on our tech rescue related skills because we don't have much snow to work with yet. But we were out doing a tech training today, and got another full weekend training coming up in a couple weeks. But next weekend, I'm hoping to be out in the kind of Barstow area for some soda and probably some rock climbing out there as well at a place called New Jack City or Sawtooth Canyon Campground. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's the spot. A lot of bouldering up there. You said outside of Bishop? Or
No,
Barstow?
we're Barstow.
Oh,
Barstow
okay,
area.
wrong
It's,
beat. Totally
yeah.
different.
Yep. Bishop has lots of, well, all kinds of climbing, but yeah, it's a bouldering mecca. And then Barstow area, this spot is mostly sport climbing, but it's a lot of fun. It's like an outdoor gym.
Oh, that's awesome. Excellent. Well, thanks for joining us. Appreciate that. There are a number of questions that are coming in. Don't worry, guys. We'll get your questions. And there was somebody named Carol. Carol, restate your question, but like at Ham Radio Crash Course, or write questions somewhere in there, because I think I missed it. And we're happy to get to it. I think we got one or two more YouTubers to say hi to, and then we'll get back to answer your questions. So that leaves one K8MRD, the Ham Radio tube, the entire tube. How you doing, man?
The plate, the grid, the diode, whatever's all in the tubes, I got it all.
That's it. How you doing, man?
I am great. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. I'm better than I was this last 2 weeks. I hadn't been able to do anything, man. It's horrible.
That sucks. I did not get sick over Christmas because I didn't do anything. I stayed at home and did a live stream.
Technically, I stayed at home too. We just had 40 people come over to my home, and then we all got sick.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
true. It's hard to eat with a mask on.
That's true.
Had an amazing POTA activation yesterday.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, dude, it was crazy. We were talking about it earlier before you jumped in, but this one particular park kicks us out at dusk, which sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So we got kicked out. The pileup was just, I mean, you knew we worked each other.
Yeah.
The pileup was insane. The band was in tremendous condition. We were on 20 meters. And me and Ryan, KF8IV, he thinks it was his antenna. I think it was propagation. We're just using a 49-1. But like, there were so many signals that were like S9 plus 10, 20, 30, 60 over. Like, there were stations that were just literally blowing up our front end. We were using the 7300 and just a vertical 20-meter end-fed half wave.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up calling. We called a few times for like QRPs or mobiles or park to parks only, that kind of thing. Towards the end of it, we called for QRP stations only. We legit had a pileup of just QRP stations.
Mm-hmm.
It was insane.
Yeah, it was awesome. You had a ton of people.
It was so much fun. Yeah, so I got 153 contacts. I just uploaded my log today. Two were dupes, but so we both got the same contacts. But just incredible.
Yeah,
so.
not only was there a QRP pileup you had, I heard a lot of them from my QTH, and they were all coming in strong. Like, they were all, you could totally make contact with all of them. It wasn't like, that I hear you down there, OM. You're just barely scraping my noise floor. Like, no, they all sounded really good. So yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Well, there was a lot that were still pretty weak, but like just calling for QRP stations and hearing, you had to legit listen for a call sign. Like,
yeah,
it was crazy. Absolutely crazy.
It was loud. The pileup was loud, which is awesome. I mean, that's what you want. So great. Thanks for joining us out there. And what's really funny is I lost you at some point when you were out there. And so I'm like, I'll just hop on, I'll hop on the old POTA spots. And I swear there was no POTA spot for you. I looked for KMRD and nobody had spotted you or anything. And I'm like, where the hell is he? Because I think you guys stopped for a little bit, or you might have moved, and I'm like, what happened?
When Ryan and I go out, we do the whole pass the mic thing.
Yeah.
And the way we do it, which I believe everyone should do it, there's a first operator and a second operator. So I spot Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
So Ryan, you'll see KF8IV spotted because he's the one that's going to say CQ POTA, this is KF8IV. So he works them. You got to get through him to get to me. And then when I work the station, I give the mic back to Ryan. He again calls CQ POTUS. So it's not like Ryan works a station and then hands the mic to me and I work a station and then I call CQ POTUS. I think just being hunter, I hate when they pass the mic and then the next guy says CQ POTUS, because I've got one call sign logged into my logging app, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if the other guy calls CQ POTUS, then I got to delete that and get his call sign, and that's why we do it that way. So I always spot KF. I always make him go first.
I see. Then that's what happened there.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
And now you know the rest of the story.
Now you got it. Thank you very much. Well, we got a couple of questions in there. Carol, I see your question. Oh, what was that?
I was going to say, as we were talking about before you came on, you weren't the only one that heard all those QRPs go back to Ryan and Mike. I was hearing them up in Sacramento, and I was like, no way am I getting through my 100 watts. The pileup was massive.
Yeah, it was very impressive. Once I found them again, I was like, oh man, this is where they've all been hiding at. But it was pretty good. Chase, I'm going to come back to you. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten you. There's a couple of questions I want to hit really quickly. Question from Chewy. Are the practice technician questions the same as the actual tests? Yes. If you go to hamstudy.org and you start taking practice exams, it's the same question pool. So once you master those, that's it. It's easy. Let's see. Kilo Foxtrot Josh, I like the name. Question, I like the idea of a log receive since the DX Commander has high noise. Is it possible to do that with the FT710? So it is possible, but you're going to need something like the devices I just pulled up. And this is just an example. Other people sell them, but this is the MFJ 1707B automatic RF switch antenna. And I don't know if I can... There you go. Look at this. So you give it 12 volts. You plug in your receive antenna. You plug in your exceiver, which is your transceiver, and you plug in your transmit antenna. And it will, via RF power, switch back and forth between them. RF and receive antenna, transmit antenna. RF or receive antenna, transmit antenna. That's how it works. You use that device to do that, right? So you can switch between antennas. There are other ways to do it, but that is a nominal approach. So just FYI on that, okay? So we got both those. And then Carol, I love your question, but it's going to take me a second, so I'm going to leave that on the screen. We're going to come back to it. Let's go talk to Chase and then come back. I am familiar with Dave Kassler's reference station, at least the radio, because I ran that for years. And so we can talk about that in a second. But Chase, what have you been up to now that you got your Pacifico beer in hand? This is your first time having a Pacifico?
Yeah, man, I haven't tried it up until now.
You might ask, like, did you just turn 21, or what are we talking about here?
Oh, no, I just haven't had Pacifico up until now. I'm a Miller Lite guy. That's my go-to is Miller Lite.
Oh, my God. What are you, hanging out with the smoking ape? What are we talking about here?
Nah, dude, I'm just white trash.
Pacifico's pretty good. I mean, of the macros, it's not a bad one. What do you think?
Oh, dude, it's awesome. It's nice. It's a smooth light beer.
Yeah. So what have you been up to, man, with your YouTube channel?
Not much, man. Just hanging out. I made been doing a bunch of live streams and stuff lately.
Good.
Getting into that, trying that out a little bit.
Yeah.
And doing some. I made a video this week about. I found this little Morse code trainer on Amazon. It's the Pudakig brand, and made a video on that, like a review. It's a pretty cool little device. It's not 100% accurate, but it's a good deal, I think, for the price. It's only $60 for a Morse code trainer. So that's kind of one of my resolutions this year is to learn CW.
Right on. Very good. Well, thank you for watching and hanging out. Appreciate you.
For sure, man.
I'm going to have to come back to it. We got a question on what's the difference between the 1707 Bravo and the 1708 Bravo. And I'm seeing the... Oh, it's the SDR version. It's for an SDR. Software-defined radio. It's for a receive side, not a transmitter. We'll come back to that, though. Okay, Carol. So your question, and I'm taking some liberties in trying to remember what the quote-unquote reference station is for Dave Kassler. I do know that the reference station is the ICOM IC 7300. I don't know if he has identified a specific power supply or a specific antenna. But I can tell you the basic rundown of the setup. Oh, he literally has a website? Are you kidding me? Thank you, Chris. Let's pull that up right now. Oh, this is easy. All right, so what do we got? Handheld radio, mobile, home coax, reference station. All right, so ICOM 7300, we got that. Power supply. Okay, so he does include a power supply. Coax runs, RG8X, fine. RF connectors, fine. Power distribution, the West Mountain Radio rig runner, okay. Power connectors, antenna. Oh, he's got a off-center fed antenna is what he recommends. Okay, so this is relatively straightforward. Your radio requires 13.8 volts of power, between that and 12 volts of power, continuous, whether it's a battery or a power supply. Dave sent you on a journey to get a power supply in the form of that Samlex SEC1235. So you got to give that mains power, like in your home. You then take two wires, the red and black, and you've got to get it interfaced to that power connection to the 705. You plug that in to the radio. The other thing you then need is your coax, right, to your antenna. And so he recommends RG8X. You could go with different coax brands. He doesn't seem to have a link there, but RG8X is fine for the frequencies that you're transmitting on. You're going to run that coax to the antenna, right? The antenna is likely going to be up in a tree or suspended between a tree and a pole or something like that. That goes to the radio. That goes from the antenna to the radio. Get it up as high as you can with the antenna. So that's going to generally give you an idea of how much coax you need. I'm giving you the simple setup. There's many other complexities you can add to this. Once you connect those three things together, antenna, radio, and power, you can turn the radio on, and you can use your microphone if you want to do single sideband or your CW key. Once you do have it connected, though, with an off-center fed dipole, you likely may have to engage the tuner, which is a button on the upper left corner of the 7300 that says tuner. If you click that, it should go into auto mode, which it will kick itself off into auto tuning when it needs to. So if you change the bands, you can change bands by clicking on the numbers, the frequency number on the screen. So 14 megahertz is 20 meters, 7 megahertz is 40 meters, etc., etc. Some of this is getting in depth into actually using the 7300, which you're going to have to learn how to do. But that's it in a nutshell. That's the simplest way to explain it I can probably put together. So yeah, there you go. Somebody dropped the Dave Kassler reference. Good job on that. Okay. Save $100 and get the QRP Kits RF switch. Well, the problem with that is then you potentially will have, you could blow it up. If you're running QRP, that's fine, but if you're not, that's not going to work. Okay. I hope that helped, Carol. Moving on.
Good for 200 watts.
It's good for 200 watts. Handles 150 watts of RF, it says. But it's a QRP. Okay. All right. I'm down. I like it. What's the max out allowed legally for an amplifier? So it depends on the band of operation, but generally 1500 watts for amateur radio. Question. Oh, so let's go back to that really fast so we can get this out of the way, then we can get talking about other stuff. So this is the 1708 SDR RF sensing. RF sense TR switch with the receive splitter designed to be used with a transceiver and separate receiver, such as an SDR. So this is taking one antenna and it's putting the antenna onto two radios. Versus what we were just looking at with the 17.7 is taking two antennas and one transceiver.
But there is a 1708B without the SDR.
Okay, but it's the same thing, right?
No. And I don't know the difference, but it is different. This is, most of the time when I see people recommending, they're recommending the 1708B.
No.
I've never even seen anybody recommend the 1707.
Well, it has an extra letter at the end. It has to be different.
Stop! I'm going to answer right now. Okay, I'm looking at the 1707. The 1708 has a receiver, an antenna, and a transmitter. It's for one antenna 2 radios. The 1707 is 2 antennas, 1 radio. It's a different device. It's a different switch. It's going from... Go ahead.
Well, and then what's the difference between that and the 1708? So you're saying it's 2 radios as opposed to a radio and an SDR.
So back in the day when we had 2 boxes, we had a receiver and we had a transmitter. Mm-hmm. We used to have a RF relay or a cable that when you PTT'd the transmitter, it would deafen the receiver. That's what this is. The 1708 is using 1 antenna shared between a transmitter and a receiver. It could happen to be a 7300, which is a transceiver, but maybe you don't want to use a 7300 and you'd rather use that delicious Hermes light. So that's what this is it's just deafening the receive chain and only putting the RF through the antenna via the transmitter, the X-mitter. You can see it on the screen. You see the screen?
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So if we go back to 1707, so the 1707 is 2 antennas, one transmitter. So you have a receive antenna, you have a transmit antenna, and then when the transmitter is transmitting, it cuts off the receive antenna and only goes out the transmitter.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. There we go. All right. Let's go back to the Discord. Anybody else? Let's go back to newbies, see if we got the newbies all covered. Anybody here for the first time that would like to say hi or ask a ham radio question, come forward.
Question for Josh.
I think I saw, is that Raspberry? Go ahead, man.
That's me. Hi. I've been watching for like a month. I started as a tech in mid-October, and then I upgraded to general using your VEC team.
Nice.
I think last month. But my question is, how can I look into like the more technical side of ham radio? Because I'm licensed and like the test was kind of easy, honestly, and like actually operating like my handheld right now, that's all pretty easy, and I'm just interested in trying to get into like the more technical side of it. So my question is, what are some good resources to start doing that?
Well, what does technical mean to you? Like, what does that mean when you say that? You obviously have a connotation of what that means in your head. So what is that?
Well, mostly like I think antenna theory and just like how the waves work, modulation, that kind of stuff. So I was thinking like, are the ARRL books a good choice, for example?
I mean, that's going to give you a good kind of primer on the subject. As always, if you haven't, the ARRL handbook is something that is invaluable to most hams, and it does give you some background. The advantage of the ARRL handbook is it doesn't really go out of date, if you will. So if you found a handbook from 2017, most of the content is going to be the same, particularly for antenna theory and antenna design. There are plenty of books you can look up that deep dive things like nominal electronic circuits. Like I think of that as deep diving. There are plenty of books that talk about different antenna designs. Antenna theory, though, you're almost going to have to look into some of like the RF engineering side of the house. That may not necessarily be ham radio in depth. You almost have to look up like college course information on RF theory pertaining to antennas. The good news is that the internet is fantastic for this. You can find all kinds of stuff by just looking up whatever it is you're interested in. And you should at least be able to find enough options that you probably get the right-ish answer that you can start deep diving into different books or material that may exist.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
For antenna theory, I've gotten a lot out of the ARRL antenna physics introduction book. It's a pretty good one to kind of help explain the physics behind antennas if you're interested in that side of things.
Oh, I love that.
So that's a good resource.
Yeah. So there it is. It's
you can get it as a Kindle book too, which is kind of nice.
Oh, that's the way I like to do a lot of the ARRL books on Kindle. I love the handbook, but the handbook is freaking huge, guys. A lot of these books are really, really big, and if it's just straight text, a lot of the time going with an ebook is totally fine. And it looks like it's on Antenna Physics. The Kindle copy is $20. So I am definitely going to copy that link. And
is that $20 for the actual handbook?
No, it's $30 for the paper, $30 to $34 for the paperback, $20 for the Kindle. I may actually just buy this. So ARRL and Monkey Physics, Antenna Physics, Physics. Oh, be nice if I spell things right. There you go. Drop the link. That is an affiliate code if you end up buying through that link. Obviously, the ARRL gets paid, but I get a cut, and it doesn't cost you anything, so consider that. All right.
Josh, I would also suggest
yes, sir.
Looking at DX Commander's channel.
Oh,
because
great.
he does all the antenna modeling and stuff in the software. So
what a great shout out! You're totally right.
I mean,
yeah,
a fellow Lord needs to recognize.
Oh, right, of course, yeah. We got to keep it within the Brotherhood of Lords.
Yes.
Let's pull up this wonderful YouTube channel.
And, antennas are only one branch of the hobby. You've got, circuit design, software defined radios, and the software that drives them. Like if you look up and the true SDX and read about how they're handling SSB modulation in that thing, to design an SDR that runs on an 80 mega, 38p or 32p or something of marginal microprocessor that's controlling that radio and acting as a little SDR. It's pretty incredible what they came up with and how they figured out how to modulate SSB on that.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that is a cool hobbyist radio. And remember, there's a thing like there's radios for activating radio, making contacts on radio. But an entire portion of this hobby, and a lot of people in this hobby, they don't make a lot of contacts. They just enjoy dinking around with radios and the technical challenge of just playing around with this technology that we're allowed kind of the latitude to do that kind of stuff. I love that. I will point out, I just dropped the link to Callum's thing, and I saw this Callum's DX Commander Year in Review 2023. I want to play the opening for this. I'm going to bring this up full screen. I think this is my voice doing the DX Commander thing. Yeah, it is. It is. What? Okay, here we go. Back it up. DX Commander. That I did that. That was me years ago. I remember. There's Mike. That was Sterling? Who was in the chat for this? Wait, hold on. I got to go back. That was Sterling. Digital analog ham radio TV. Haven't seen that guy in a long time. Mike is literally above me. Jason's on there. OG Dave Kassler is on that live stream. Holy smokes. What was that live stream from? Does anybody remember that live stream?
Well, it was one of Jason's, right? Like a ham radio happy hour?
That's got to be one of the really early videos from when we first started doing the YouTubers bunch.
Yeah, I think it
gotta
was.
be because everybody's wearing their YouTubers bunch.
Oh,
1, 2, 3,
yeah.
4, 5. I'm probably wearing it 6.
I've got one.
Yeah, I bet that's what it is.
That's
hey, Josh.
Awesome. Yeah.
Ham Radio TV. That's Jason, the other Jason.
Oh, I know who
him
it is.
personally. I could probably. Yeah, he's a cool guy.
Oh no, I know. I mean, he and I message back and forth.
I talk to him all the time.
Yeah, no, he's a good guy. I think there was a Craig. Craig, were you going to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah, Ham Radio TV was just outstanding. I sure miss his stuff. I hope he's doing okay.
He actually drove down from up north, and he parked in front of my house with his RV with his kids, and he kind of didn't really let me know he was coming down, and he just parked in front of my house for like an evening, and I think I was also sick. It was like 3 years ago. I was sick, and I couldn't have him in or anything. I just came out and said hi to him really fast, and they boogied on out. They were doing some vacation, I think, to Disneyland or something. But, yeah, okay. I think we got through all the YouTubers. We're back to questions. So is there anybody on the Discord, right? So back to newcomers. You're here for the first time. We'd love to welcome you. So if you'd like to say hi, come forward. But if you also have a question, now's the time.
One more antenna book mention, if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Obviously, the the smoking ape, he ruined my brain and my budget last year when he put the Rothamels and Tana book out, and that's published by the Deutsches Land Amateur Radio Club, and 1,600 pages of the history of every antenna hams have ever invented. First edition English. It is massively back ordered, but you can, if you want to know more about that book, the Smoking Ape put a video out on it. I bought one, and it's just fantastic. But it's 1,600 pages. It's not light reading, but I love the book. It's worth it if you really, really need an
What was it?
antenna reference.
What was it?
It's the Rothamels antenna book.
Rothamels? Oh, I got it. Holy smokes, I spelled that right. Rothamels antenna book. Okay, let's find this. Is it on Amazon? It is not.
And you have to be careful. You want the English version.
Yeah, it looks like it comes in Russian.
Yeah, Jody posted the link on that a little bit in the chat.
Right on. Right on. Okay, well, there you go.
The antenna books in audiobook.
I don't know that you'd want it in audiobook format. These are like reference documents.
To the, theory.
I don't know if that's how I'd want to learn theory necessarily.
Because I got the ARRL box set for Christmas, but it'd be nice when I'm driving at work to be able to just listen to stuff.
It's a good idea to watch the apes video, and it'll tell you, and he explains it, if it's for you or not. But if you really you want to know about a mysterious antenna that nobody knows about, they've tracked that. They've published it for almost 60 years now. And obviously it's an amateur radio club from Germany, and they do a good job.
Yeah, they used to only publish it in German for a number of years, and then they started realizing they could sell a lot of them to the U.S. So, and other places, obviously. So,
I agree. More antenna books, hard stuff is what we need. So we appreciate that. All right, now we can go back to the mix. We want to hear your tough questions. Stump us as amateur radio operators. Not because we literally are challenging you that you can't, but we really are actually out here to try and help you be effective and get on the air. Because remember, guys, you all getting on the air only helps us out because we want to make contacts with you. We want more pod activators. We want more people being active in this hobby to help grow the hobby. So jump in there. Anybody else in the Discord? First time, like to say hi or ask a question. Come now.
I was just curious about, since you are a big advocate for Baofangs as being the first ham radio for newbies, just curious, what do you suggest being the best antenna for a Baofeng UV5R?
Okay, I want to amend that slightly. The Baofeng is a fine entry point if you only want to spend $18. If you have the scratch and you think you're going to enjoy the hobby, you can pass right by the Baofangs and you don't even have to stop there. But there's a lot of people that just don't have that latitude to drop $200 on a more expensive radio. So there you go. That's that. If you decide that you're going to go out in the field, you're going to hike, you're going to backpack, you're going to do all that stuff. Signal Stuff Signal Stick, link is in the description. Yes, it's an affiliate code, but I've already tested that antenna. It's a good middle of the road antenna. It beats the heck out of the stock rubber duck antenna, but it's durable enough that one, if you bump it, you're not necessarily going to break the connector on the radio, and the antenna can handle it. The only caveat to the Signal Stick is if you live in a very cold climate, it can actually go limp on you because of the material that it's made with. If you do happen to live in that environment, you can get any one of the Nagoya antennas that fits your particular need on length. Just remember, if you're going short antenna, it's not going to be a very good transmitter. It's not going to be very effective. But the Nagoyas are kind of generally matched well with the Baofangs. And again, I've tested those too. I have a practical video on testing a lot of those antennas. So if you're so inclined, you can go look that up. Roll-up J-pulls. Thanks, Don. That's a good reference. The only downside with the roll-up J-pole is that you're likely not to be expected to be walking with that. It's like if you get to camp and you set that up. Ed Fong is my number one roll-up J-pole. It's my preferred portability. Link is also in the description for that. I also like, if you just want pure performance, this shout out to Adam K6ARK, the MFJ Long Ranger. Not something you necessarily leave on the radio because you'll break the antenna jack off. Long Ranger's fantastic, or the Smiley half wave antenna. Both are fantastic. They're only 2 meter only, but you can't do better than that, seriously. And a Brie is still good. Okay, so hear me out on the Abri. A Brie is fine. They're still good. The difference is that it's cumbersome. You don't necessarily want to like leave it on the radio necessarily. I've now kind of gone back to my my simple days of just leave the stupid rubber duck on the radio, hike all over the place with the rubber duck, get to where you're going, put the half wave on it, make the contacts you need, put the rubber duck back on, and then boogie out of there, or leave the signal stick on there. That'd be my recommendation. So, yeah, does that answer your question? That's a lot of question. Yeah, that's a lot of answer to that question.
That does actually answer my question a lot. I was also just curious, one more thing. Have you seen the Ham Radio Rookies video on his little fabric Faraday roll-up J-pole that he made? He sewed it all together, and you can hang it up, roll it up, and whatnot.
Not only have I heard of it, he has contacted me, and he is sending me one of his designs so I can take a look at it. I think it's a wonderful, practical design. In fact, I believe the same material he's using in that J-pole is what I'm using in my little magic carpet that I made recently, and I showed on my last soda pod activation. So right on. Cool. All right.
A question for you on the log.
Yo, go for it.
I've been using the Google Earth measuring thing, and having lots of fun measuring spots. But do you have a good number that you would like to see for just to put out a loop on the ground, an ideal length?
Yeah, 60 feet. 60 to 100 feet. Is that answering your question?
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, it's like some guys are going to kill me, but I have 8,000 feet available to lay out line. I don't have that much cable, but
go with the
100 feet works for me.
Go with the 100. By the way, how you have that transformer built up, there's a lot of folks that are like, you definitely want to use the binocular wound toroid kind of thing. I'm totally in agreement with that. If that's the same one that this LMK or LM Kits transformer has, and it's great. They're very inexpensive. Buy their kit or get a pre-built.
I don't know. I built my own.
There you go.
If anybody could drop a link on that toroid, I'm sure appreciate it.
Yeah.
I actually can, because like I said, I built my own, and I ordered.
I already did it.
Ferrites. Okay. So you linked you're linking the kit.
Yeah.
But the toroid is available on Amazon. The ferrites.
Sure. Oh, you mean like you're straight up built the thing and you sourced your own project box, all that stuff. Well, the kit comes with the project. Yeah. Okay. All right. You could do it however, Don. If you'd like to drop the link to the toroid, you can do it that way too.
But then you don't get the affiliate.
Well, I don't care. LM Kits. I don't get an affiliate on that. I dropped that was just the link to their kit.
Yeah, I know, and I'll drop the Amazon link. I'll have to look it up in my history.
So this is a really good question from Ordors Orbor. Whoa, what is your name? What am I looking at? Adorbors? Adores Robors.
Name's weird on there.
Oh, Paul, you gotta give it a second, Paul. You're breaking up really bad. So the question was, are Amazon toroids okay? Don't know, because it could be provided from any number of providers. Don't really know. It sounds like Don found a good one, so if he drops the link for his binocular Tolroid, that's probably a fine way to go. But if you want Tolroids, like if you're looking for a specific mix of Tolroids for noise suppression or building a transformer of some kind, go to Palomar Engineers. Trust me, you're gonna appreciate that you did. And they are not an affiliate of mine, but they have a 10% off coupon if you use HRCC73 at checkout. 10% off. I get no money. Okay.
Hey, Josh.
Yo, go for it, Grayman.
Speaking of the LMK and the Loop Underground, did you see the little note that he put on his website?
No.
It says, I have exhausted my stock of Loop Underground transformers thanks to the Ham Radio Crash Course YouTube channel and its followers.
Where is it? There it is.
Oh, no.
I have exhausted I am building another batch of 50. I just opened the pre-orders. Now, this gentleman who runs this, I made an order. This order was recommended to me by Evan. Evan is our net control for the Ham Radio Crash Course net. He uses this antenna, so it's used by a real professional net controller. So Evan was totally right. It's a great antenna. I ordered it. I said nothing. I just ordered it. I don't remember what email I used. He replied back to me immediately and said, dude, thanks so much. I watch your channel. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. I was like, oh, that's super cool. I didn't expect him to recognize me, but he did. He sent me 2 transformers, two kits to give away. So I'm going to be giving them away. But considering the price, if you're on the fence about buying one of these, you might as well just pre-order it or do whatever it is. You might as well just do it right now. But I have 2. I've got a 50 ohm and a 70 ohm. The 70 ohm is going to use different coax feed. It's going to be a different thing. It might be more for a shortwave receiving station, but I got one of those too. So look forward to that in the future. Fantastic. The guy was super nice. But yeah, I super enjoy mine. It's been great. I really do like it, particularly for listening to people talk on ham radio. It's a much better solution. All right. Who's next? Anybody in there first time like to say hi or ask a question? Otherwise, we're just going to open it up to anybody, any question, anywhere.
Question.
KD9 WSD, go for it.
Okay, I got my license this spring. I picked up at a Hamfest FT 736R, so it's got 2 meters, 70 centimeter, and 6 meter. But I'm putting up 2 J poles, one for the 2 meter, one for the 70 centimeter. How far apart do those need to be so they don't affect each other, or is it going to make a difference because they're both coming out of the same radio? It does have a hookup for each antenna on the back.
You got a separate hookup for UHF and a separate hookup for VHF? Did I understand that correctly?
Correct. Yes. That is.
There may be some passive coupling, just based off of how close they are, but I don't know. Give it 6 feet. By the way, with all this discussion on antenna physics and antenna design and all these topics, there is a right answer to this question, but I'm of the mindset of like, I don't know, put them 6 feet apart and then try 7 and then try 8 and see, if you notice anything different. Does anybody else want to add their 2 cents to that one?
It also varies based on your environment, so your mileage may vary.
Ground composition? Sure, but I think you said J-poles, right? J-poles are the ground is, or the other side, the negative side of the coax is the short leg.
Yeah, the radio's only 25 watts max, and I bought the KB9 VBR J-poles.
That's another way of doing it too, John Hopkins. That's a not a bad idea. If you change the elevation, that can also help, right? But yeah, let's put it this way. How many dudes do we know in the ham radio community that are rolling around full-on porcupine style with their car? They've got 18 antennas on the roof of a retired police vehicle. They're fine, right? So yeah, they're going to interact with each other, but they're going to work fine too. So you're probably okay.
The only reason only reason I asked too is this radio does full duplexing, so it's for satellite stuff as well.
Mm-hmm. Understood. It's probably okay. Gordo he's got a couple of antennas up on his vehicles. That's for sure.
If Josh was to drive a vehicle from Orlando to California, it would have been that Jetta last year at Tamcason.
Oh yeah, well no, probably not, because so that Jetta. By the way, I love that Jetta. But the guy cracks me up because he's like, oh, yeah, I'm a bit of a car enthusiast. Yeah, this is a turbo Jetta, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, how fast can you actually go with all this stuff on the top? He's like, I don't really go above 70. And I'm like, I'm not doing coast to coast, only doing 70. That's not going to work for me. Who's the buzzing? Where's that buzzing coming from? Is that you, Loyal?
I have push to talk on my mic physically.
There's a buzzing noise. Do it again. Push to talk.
It's as I.
Yeah, there's a buzz echo or something that's coming through. That was interesting.
Interesting. I'll just keep myself on mute on Discord then.
No, it's fine. It doesn't bother me. It was a very pronounced buzzing.
Well, it's either the 3D print on my background right now, or it's the DJI mic, the vibrate every time it mutes and unmutes.
It's the DJI mic, I think.
Yep.
It's probably just because it's touching your clothes or something. Yeah, it did it again.
So
that was it.
Yep. I pressed the mute button, then pressed the unmute. It's in my hand right now. I'm just holding it above my face. You know the wireless DJI mics?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you press the mute button, it vibrates.
These guys, the ones that I'm holding right in my hand here.
Stream 60 seconds delayed. I'm assuming so.
Yeah.
If you press the mute button, they vibrate.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I got it.
So apparently it picks up on its own audio. Yep, those things.
Yep. All right. Well, there we go. Okay. Let's last call. First timers like to say hi or ask a question. Go for it. All right. That means we're just open it wide up. Any questions anywhere? Ham radio. Could be related to today's show topic, but it doesn't have to be. Go for it. Anyone?
Got a comment?
I saw Killer Slug first, and then we'll go next.
Okay, yeah. I didn't see the list of switches that you put up, but did you have the minikits.com.au RX active switch?
No, I did not pull up a lot of them. I just pulled up the one that I knew of, which was the 1707. Somebody else pulled up the QRP one, and then what was the one you just mentioned? What was the other?
It's from minikits.com.au. And they also have a loop antenna preamp.
What am I looking for? What is it called? Oh, it's this HF active receive antenna.
Yeah. And then, well, it's the active loop antenna, and then there's an active switch.
Yeah, I think I've got the HF active receive antenna switch on my.
Yeah, the two of these work together using a bias T to provide a preamp out on your loop. I've been using it for a while, and it's actually fantastic. It's a bit of a project to put together if you're going to do the kit, but it works really well.
Does it eliminate noise though?
Yeah, it's still loop on ground. And then your preamp is sitting on the ground with the loop, essentially.
Oh, it has a preamp at the loop?
Yeah, there's another part that goes with the switch that the switch powers.
When you say switch, we're not talking about the active receive antenna switch anymore. Are you talking about a loop on the ground transformer?
Well, it's both. It's an active switch to switch between the loop and your transmit antenna. And a preamp.
But why? I wouldn't have that out. Okay, am I? I'm gonna drop the link. Is this the right one, or maybe you dropped the link? Because
I did drop the link to the switch, but there's two different boxes. There's the switch.
Where's the antenna? Drop that one.
Okay, give me just a second to find it.
Yeah, because I'm not finding.
So there's a complete kit. BNC. I'm seeing a switch. This is just an active switch. So there's something else, right?
Yeah, there's two parts to this. I just dropped the link.
Oh, okay. Well,
so that module receives power from the switch through the coax. It uses bias T. So it puts a DC bias on your coax.
Okay.
Get
Right.
power out there.
But that active loop is in the air. It's not on the ground.
No,
Look at the picture. Look at the picture. Look at the picture.
I know. Mine's on the ground and it works great.
Do you have it? Oh, there's a box. Yeah, there's a picture of it in a plastic box.
Yeah, and there's a loop above it, which is like I have a W6 LVP loop. It works great too, but it's just not as quiet as the loop on the ground.
So let me make sure I understand this. You have this particular device and you have it connected to a length of wire making a loop on the ground, correct?
Correct. 100%.
Just laying on the ground. Okay, sure.
Yep.
Cool.
It's a great little setup. It switches automatically between transmit and receive using your radio's PTT out.
Yeah.
I forget what the signal's called. But yeah, works fantastic.
I do like the fact that a loop. So can you turn off and on the preamp, or is it always on no matter what you do?
Yeah, if you turn off the switch, then it turns off the preamp.
But then you can't auto.
I don't. It doesn't really work separately.
Got it. So it's designed to run the preamp.
Yeah.
Okay. So the only downside I see to that is for me, there are still bands that even though I've got the loop on the ground, the signal's a little hot from noise. Particularly when we had all those Christmas lights up this last month, I was still getting drowned out. Even the loop on the ground was getting drowned out by noise. And so having a preamp that was just forced on all the time would not have been a great solution for me necessarily. I like the added capability of just leave it raw, no preamp, and then if I need to, I can add preamp if I want to on the radio. That's not the best solution, but it's still it works fine.
Okay, yeah, the way I dealt with that was I turned the bias T off, but that is not. See, the thing is, I was never using a switch that required the active loop, so, and I wasn't transmitting through using that particular thing for transmit. It was on just a SDR dongle that I was using it, so, or SDR play. So I never had the transmit side of it, so I didn't need that part of the. I didn't need to power that. Yeah.
All right. Good addition to that one. Man with the crazy name, or person with the crazy name, or doors or bores, has a HF question after this. By the way, if you're in the text chat and you're not in the voice chat, if you're on the voice chat, that's great. We'll pause for you to answer. Don't say I got a question after this in text. Just say at Ham Radio Crash Course or question, and then give me the question. Because okay, I'm now ready to take your question. Please start typing. That's going to take too long. So just hit me with the question. It's fine. Are you in the chat, by the voice chat, by the way? Borers?
Yep, I'm in the voice chat.
D. Paul, KI5YHF. All right. Give me your name. How do you say that name? Oh, no, he's a robot. He's AI. The AI is invaded. Paul, there's something going on with your signal, man.
Is there?
Yeah, you're roboting really bad. Okay, try again. How do you say the name?
Ordo or Ouroboros.
Oh, Ordor Ouroboros?
Orin snake thing from the Neverending Story.
Oh, okay. I confirm though. You're a part of the AI overlords. I got it with your signal. Get closer to your Wi-Fi router or something because you're dropping out big time. You do have a question.
While we wait, I do have a question.
Okay. Paul, we'll come back to you. Your signal's not great. I don't know what's going on there. See if you can improve that. Go ahead, Frank.
Okay, so everyone here that knows me knows I have an in-fed half wave that's supposed to be good 10 through 80. I'm able to tune up on every band except for 80 meters, and I've tried in the digital portion, I've tried in the voice portion. Any ideas why it wouldn't tune 80 if it's meant to do 10 through 80, supposedly.
What's your budget?
Not yet, Tim. Not yet.
How long's your wire?
Yeah, how long's the
What
wire?
kind of
Yeah, it
antenna is this?
doesn't. It's not long enough.
It's the par infeds at 132.6 feet.
Oh.
That's
Have you looked at it on a meter?
I have not. That was going to be my next step when I have another vacation.
Yeah, that's what you got to do.
All right. I just thought I'd throw it out there and see what people thought.
So somebody asked
Let
you what's
me
the
add
ratio of the
how high are you
transformer
here?
Too many people talking. So one question first. What's the ratio of the transformer? And then we'll go to Mike Kate MRD.
I don't remember off the top of my head. Let me look it up though. I think
matter.
it's a 49. I think it's a 9 or 49 to 1.
Oh, that's okay. All right. If it's a 9 to 1, even though you have 100 feet up, that's probably not right. You'd have to almost have an external tuner for a 9 to 1. But anyway, okay. Go to Mike, and then Adam may have a thought. I think he was queuing up a thought.
When I was listening to him ask this question, and he said what he had,
yeah,
I said to myself before he said it, he's got a par end. I have the same antenna.
Yeah.
And the same problems. I've tried adding wire to it. Like 40, 20, like the higher frequencies are fine. They're not great, but they're doable.
Uh-huh.
But 80, mine will tune up until about like 3.7, 3.8. Once you get to higher, like 3.9, not going to happen. With my 7610 or 7300, which is a flaw in that antenna because it should work.
80 meters is
49 to
freaking
1.
huge, man.
I have two 80-meter antennas over my house right now. 2.
Yeah.
That's what I use at home.
Okay.
And they're the 10 antennas, and I added my own wire and cut them. But yeah, I've got that par infeds because I really wanted to put that up because it handled higher power than I was using the who's the guy on eBay? Nelson antennas.
Nelson.
But it didn't handle enough power. So yeah, that par infeds, I suspect he's got the same issue that I do. And it's just a bad I'm not saying it's a bad antenna. I'm saying it's a bad lot of that antenna. We probably have the same batch.
Probably. All right. And as far as the height goes, it tops out in a somewhat inverted V section at about 25 feet off the ground.
It would still work.
Okay.
My 80 meter infed works just fine, but I have my antennas infed half-wave, and I don't see their 80 meter on here, but my 80 meter specifically has a little coil in it, very close to probably 5 feet away from the transformer, and it does.
Mine does
that's
too.
a little higher bands.
Okay. Yeah, actually it's for 10 meters to make 10 meters tune with an 80 meter infed.
Adam, were you going to say something? Sorry, Don, I wasn't trying to cut you off.
No.
Yeah. So what you got to do is measure the antenna's impedance at once you've got it set up. Figure out what the impedance is at the lowest SWR point, or at least close to resonance on 80 meters, and that'll tell you a lot about what's going on there and what's causing your problems. So do that and report back. You got to remember too that for an 80 meter antenna, if you're only 25 feet off the ground, that is going to affect the impedance, but it probably should help it a little bit, honestly. So the other thing you'll find with end-fed half waves is that often you need a little bit higher transformance ratio the lower you get in frequencies, and I suspect that's what you're going to find. You'll probably find that the impedance is kind of high, above 50 ohms, at your resonant point near 80 meters. So if that's the case, then you're correct. It's a transformer issue, and the transformer would need a few more, probably 2 or 3 more turns on the secondary coil to get a good match.
This should be a good time to mention, too, for everybody that has an antenna analyzer. Go see if your antenna analyzer will do R and X testing. So impedance and reactance is the other one. That's really what you should be doing after you do a baseline SWR test. Like a baseline SWR test is just gonna show that you're presenting the right load to your transceiver. But until you actually know what the relative impedance is at the frequency that you're testing, and your X value, it's not gonna tell you if it's a good antenna or not. Do I have that right? Is it reactance, Adam, or am I thinking of another term? I can't remember.
You are correct.
Okay.
Yeah, reactance tells you your reactive impedance. So it's the impedance part that varies with frequency. So the resistive impedance is going to vary less with frequency.
Right. So if you had, let's say you built a dipole and you had it built for 14.225 and you do an RNX test, you would want to make your resistive number be 50. You would expect it to be 50 because that's the relative impedance that your radio expects, and that's the resonance that you've cut the antenna to. And you want your reactance to be 0 or as close to 0 as possible. And then that would be a very effective antenna.
Not necessarily. Dummy load would do that too. It doesn't mean it's a good radiator, but it at least means it's going to accept all the power.
I meant my example was you built a dipole though, not you built a dummy load.
Sure. So it doesn't mean it means that you're getting effective power transfer to your antenna, and really, the definition of resonance is your reactive impedance is 0. That's the the basic definition of resonance. So.
So just apply that to an NFED and do the same thing. By the way, everybody who has a Rig Expert Stick Pro, the Pro does RNX. The Stick E-Ink ones do not, and that was something I learned recently. So if you have the Stick 500, it's still good, but it doesn't do this RNX, and I've demonstrated it on a couple of videos working with some antennas where. It's great to have the SWR swing, like boom, there you go. There's my resistance, my 50 ohms that I'm looking for in comparison to the standing wave ratio. But adding that other plot is really helpful.
All right, thanks, guys. And I just looked it up. It is a 49-1. So there's some tips and tricks, but Mike has mentioned that they probably won't work because they didn't work for him. So. All right, thank you. So, I get out okay. It's just the SWR on the radio's not too happy about it, and so I try not to use it too much.
You can always try getting it up higher, but
yeah, that's going to take some time.
But do go look at Jody's comment from the live stream Discord chat. Jody's saying
that I did.
It's tuned. The antenna is tuned. The length of the wire is 3.55 megahertz. That's what it's tuned towards, at least for the ground composition wherever that antenna is put together. So yeah, getting to the high side of 80 meters at 3.9 and around there, that may be a bit long of a run to be able to do that.
That's 75 meters. But anyway, because actually you'll see antennas that are sold as 80 meter and 75 meter.
I get it, but it's all the same band. Don't go full OM on me, Don. You never go full OM.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying if you're looking at buying one and you see something for 75, it's tuned for the upper side of the band.
You're catching me on semantics. Who was it? Jody, did you just drop that? Yeah, Jody, that's another really good point is you might be able to sort some of this out by dropping a tuned counterpoise on 80 meters off of that transformer. I can't if you want to fool around, go try that. That might help.
That's just more wire I need to cut now. Yeah, I already have 10, 15, 20, and 40 meters dangling off that thing.
Well, so you already do have a tuned 80 meter? Or no, you said 40?
Yeah, 10 through 40.
You have different radials off of the transformer for the antenna?
I do.
But you don't have one for 80.
I do not.
But they're
no
all
80,
spidered
no,
together, connected, because that's all going to help. I mean, it's all going to be relatively
Oh,
effective.
yeah. They're all spider connected.
That's probably okay.
And what do you want to be on 80 meters for, Frank? Have you got medical problems you want to tell
He
him
wants
about?
to be the very best, like no
Right.
one has before.
Josh has it right.
That's it.
80
meter
Poda,
FT8 is actually pretty awesome.
Yeah,
80,
and that's
80
Yeah, it's
meter
cool.
that's what
Poda.
that's what I use my antennas for. I use it. I do FT8 on 80 meters. It works great.
80 meter Poda. All right. Thank you.
We did 80 meter soda on the Pacifico campout. Sterling Man activated 80 meter summits on the air. It was pretty nice on the evening. It was great. It's fantastic that somebody asked this question, because now we get to say the most important thing when it comes to NFED antennas. Don't choke it at the transformer. If you're not going to run a secondary radial system or counterpoise, whatever you want to call it, never put the choke at the antenna feed point of an NFED half wave. The coax shield is part of the antenna. Don't do it. This is the only exception to when in doubt, choke it out.
Or always be poisoned, like the ape said.
That's right. All right. Let's see. Who's next? Go ahead, Chase.
Is it necessary to choke it at all in the coax at all?
Well, if you're at home, if it's like your home station, it might be nice to put a choke right before the coax enters into the building. There's no reason you can't do that. But choking it at the feed line to the antenna connection, not a good idea with an NFED, unless, again, you're running a special radial system for it.
Okay, because I have mine choked like right before the lightning arrestor.
That's fine. Like right before it enters the shack?
At the lightning arrestor before it splits off to come into the shack, yeah.
That's fine. Yeah. And hypothetically, the lightning arrestor to ground is doing a lot of pulling that common mode current off of the shield, the exterior shield of the coax anyway. So it's fine.
This is funny because I just filmed Mailbag Day today, and we talked about this exact question.
I think you and I talked about this exact question like 2 or 3 weeks ago, or like a month ago.
Perhaps. I honestly don't remember. But
I've done this both ways.
It's a good question.
I know, cover your ears, but my LMR 400 coax that I often use for a lot of POTA has a big, long line of chokes that's on one end, like one end of the feed. And I've done it both ways. I took it, connected it up to see what it would do, flip-flopped it, and it generally, the antenna, the NFED half wave, performs better when it's on the radio side, the chokes.
How long a counterpoise do you have?
But it depends on the antenna.
Depends on the antenna. Yeah.
Yeah, because I choke mine at both ends, and I do have a good long counterpoise on it.
But you do have a counterpoise.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay,
like Ape says, always be poisoned.
I know, but you could see
Ape
this
also drinks Miller Lite.
Always be poison,
true.
but we have a very accomplished antenna person in this chat who we defer to a lot of times. Adam will oftentimes recommend that a counterpoise is not needed for an NFED half wave, right? So,
right, it's
as
not
always,
needed.
It depends.
You can get by without it, but
well, I don't know, Adam. Do you want to make a stand-up position on that? Wait, is Adam still here? What happened to Adam? Did I miss him?
What's this counterpoise thing?
On an NFED half wave.
I know, I'm joking.
Okay. Jesus.
Yeah, you don't necessarily need one. It's a high impedance feed point, and you can certainly get by without one on a lot of setups. With higher power, it's probably more useful to have a counterpoise.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm on the same page. That's how I feel too. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Question.
That's the thing. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry. Hey, Josh, Andy.
Hey.
Since we were talking about this, I just a couple months ago installed a NFED long wire. It's a 60-footer, It's in my attic. The transformer is just inside the window in my attic. 60 feet of wire shoots out into a tree from the window. Then I've got only a couple of feet in from that, I put a choke. And then it goes 50 feet of coax down from the attic through the house into the basement where my ham radio shack computer lab is located.
Okay.
Should I be moving the choke from basically where the 9-to-1 transformer is down from the attic into my shack just before the radio, or is it good where it's at? Because that's what we were just talking about. It's like I literally have the choke within a couple feet of the transformer for the end-fed long wire.
I know a lot of people have this. So here's the first question. Does your transformer have a counterpoise or radial lug on it that you could attach a secondary wire?
It does. I am not counterpoising or grounding that particular from there. Yeah.
Are you saying you are not currently, or you will not?
I had no plans to, mostly due to the fact that I am running a 50-foot feed line before from the transformer to my ham radio. I mean, it's truly 50 feet down to get to it. So,
but you understand what you've done by adding the choke is that you've basically removed the coax from the equation.
And that's what I'm just. I don't know what I was thinking at the time, but I think it was one of those. If the transformer was out the window and a ways away, it'd probably been better. But because everyone's like, "Oh, when it comes into your shack," it's like, well, no, I don't. I'm not running it traditionally. Normally, I think this would be outside and away from the building. That's why you put it just inside when it comes inside. But yeah, I've kept. So you're saying either get rid of the choke entirely or stick it in your shack, stick it in my shack right next to the radio.
No, I'm not saying that. See, you're. Let me answer the question.
Okay.
You have a configuration where the choke is right by the antenna feed point. The transformer for said feed point is basically outside the window of the attic, and then 60 feet of wire shoots out into the air into a tree. Why don't you just drop a counterpoise wire off the transformer? I don't know, quarter wave, hell, half wave. I don't know. Throw some length of wire as a counterpoise on that transformer. Don't mess with the coax. Don't do anything because, and here's the thing, right? You've already got like a lot of coax in the home that you do want to keep common mode current off of that coax. So I would still say you need to choke the coax both at the feed point and at the radio to get that common mode noise off of it. Because again, 50 feet of coax running through the home can pick up common mode current. So I would still say you should choke it. But for the effectivity of the antenna, I would add a counterpoise to the transformer at the feed point where that transformer's at. I'd add a counterpoise for that wire.
Can I play devil's advocate for a second?
Sure.
Because I think this is an interesting topic, and I've tried a lot of things, but Chameleon sent me like the very first iteration of their lightweight and sloper.
Yeah.
It's 49-1, right? When I first got it,
I don't know. Actually, I don't know what the lefts has. It might be 49-1. I don't know. In fact, I could pull one out.
Like I got it. Like they didn't even put heat shrink on it when they sent it to me. Like it was like Gen 1.
Okay.
It was probably like serial number 3. And when I got it, I'm like, because we all know how many end-fed half waves I have. Well, actually, I don't, but it wasn't performing quite to what they. And by performing, I mean I'm looking at antenna analyzer and where it's resonant.
Right.
It wasn't quite what they specified. So I called them and I spoke to John, and he's like, put a choke at the feed point, meaning put a choke right at the antenna. And this was only a 66 foot, whatever, 40 meter end-fed half wave, 49-1.
Okay.
When I put that choke, and I made a video of it too. When I put that choke at the feed point, I actually got 40, 30, I think I got like everything 40 through 10 with a pretty respectable SWR. And their reasoning, and I don't know if this is true, I kind of don't believe it, but the proof is in the pudding because it worked, is that by putting a choke at the antenna, and I 100% do not ever use a counterpoise. I want to throw that in.
Okay.
The antenna performed amazing. So the reason that I got from John is that basically you're choking all the common mode current right at the feed point, and it's just going right back out the antenna.
Okay.
And it worked great. So I don't think what the question was, the guy who's asking the question, I don't think he's doing any, if he's making contacts and his SWR is good, I'd say leave it alone.
So the last statement, that's fine. That's probably fine. Sorry, was somebody gonna say something? Go ahead.
Yeah. I think the important thing to understand is that a non-resonant 9-to-1 random wire is a very different antenna than an end-fed half wave. And what Mike was experiencing with the end-fed half wave was the coax becoming part of the antenna. And you don't want that, and that's why it can be helpful to have a choke near the antenna, because your coax might not be the right length to facilitate that end-fed half wave into being resonant on the bands it was designed and tuned to be resonant on. The 9-to-1 is different, right? Because it's an intentionally non-resonant, and what you're shooting for with a 9-to-1 random wire antenna is kind of an off-center fed dipole. In a way, right? If you feed a dipole at the center, you've got 72 ohms. You know, if it's up high and flat, free space, 50-ish ohms over real ground. And as you move that feed point, that same dipole, as you move that feed point away from the center, the impedance goes up and up and up until you get to the end where you've got 2,400-ish ohms of impedance at the feed point for an end-fed half wave. That's what an end-fed half wave is, a dipole fed at the end. And so that random wire is fed kind of somewhere in the middle. It's like that off-center fed. So you're looking for, 300 to 600 ohms in that range for your feed point impedance, because you've got that 9-to-1 transformer in there. And when you do that, and you do that with a non-resonant length of wire, a non-resonant counterpoise, and a non-resonant, radiator, 17 feet and 41 feet is what I typically use. You make an antenna that's relatively easy to tune on all the bands. So by putting a choke near the 9-to-1 transformer, you're removing that counterpoise half of that antenna, and you're making it closer to an end-fed half wave, or an end-fed half wave on some non-resonant band that's not going to do you a whole lot of good. So by adding that counterpoise back, putting, say, a 17-foot counterpoise, and like Josh said, maybe hanging it out the window or getting it out away from the house where it's going to pick up less RFI, you're probably going to make that antenna work better on more bands and make it more functional and, a better receiving and probably a better transmitting antenna.
Interesting. And if you wanted to see it, technically, if you look at my QRZ page and you scroll down, you'll see actual photos of where the antenna is hooked up and how it's run. But so now the other question is, it's like right now I don't have the wire. And I am making contacts. Don't get me wrong. I've got 40, 20. Hell, I hit Antarctica with it on FT8 with what I'm running right now. I'm mostly running if getting rid of that choke would help, because, like you said, I am removing. It is a random wire. I was being specific on that because it's not a half wave. So removing that choke from where it's located at. Would that potentially? I guess I could just try it, of course, but I figured I'd ask.
Do you do
FT8?
question. Do you do
FT8?
FT8?
Yes.
So here's the thing. There is that RF we want to keep out of the shack. And so having the choke at the feed point is advantageous for some of that, right? So this is where, having literally like RF burned myself with a 9-to-1 antenna, I understand that there are some other things going on here, right? So Adam and I are on the same page here. You should leave it the way you have it, because all that stray RF is being helped a bit by that choke, and you should drop the radial would be my recommendation.
I would agree. Yeah, and I might even add a choke near the radio too.
Oh yeah,
Choke's
that's what I
good.
said too. Yeah, I would choke both sides. I said that as well. I agree. Totally agree.
Yeah.
Oh, trust me, I definitely am all about adding. Like I've got ferrites and chokes and different things, like on USB cables and antennas here at the radios and whatnot. It's like I take to heart the whole choke it out thing, and was just wondering if I had screwed up by putting that choke so close to the what would be considered the feed point, and then not putting it closer down here to allow that 50 foot of feed line running from the attic to the basement to act then as some of that counterpoise. I if that would have been a way to go, but you know I could go buy some wire and throw it out the window. I was also kind of hoping to not have wires dangling down the side of my house. One of these days I need to actually get on the roof and put up a proper mount and get it mounted the way it needs to be. So it's away from the building a little bit and has a good line for running the counterpoise out as well as go higher into the tree because I've got a really tall tree next to my house.
Okay.
I really do think if all you did was remove the choke, it very well could make it worse. But I think adding the counterpoise could potentially make it better.
I think also you'll introduce a lot of RFI into the shack.
And I definitely want to avoid that. That's for sure.
And I missed the part where you said it was a 9-to-1, so I acquiesce all of my answers to what Josh and Adam said.
Yeah, sorry, I did mention very briefly. It is a 9-to-1. It is it is an end-fed long wire or random wire, whichever way you want to call it. It isn't a half wave. So yeah, but cool. Well, thank you. That answers kind of where I'm going, and I kind of figured that would be the direction. I was just wondering if moving the choke to make the feed line be kind of the counterpoise would work, but you're right. We're talking some noise capable possibilities, and I really don't want to get burned.
I don't think you'll burn yourself. I happen to be particularly stupid when I burnt myself with a 9-to-1 unknown, and I did it on QRP. How effective was I at using that RF to go right into my body? I just am always a little bit, again, Adam said it nicely. What is a random wire? It is an antenna that is kind of uniformly, it's providing a uniform impedance on the bands that we want to operate on that you can generally tune into position, and they still effectively radiate once tuned effectively. But you're playing around with a lot of stuff that, you know, if you get something in the mix that changes that characteristic impedance, that uniform characteristic impedance, you will have a problem. So just keep that in mind.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Come back next week and tell us how it all worked out, or whenever you drop that radial. Go ahead and tell us how it went.
Yeah, need to order some wire. I just don't happen to have any right now, but absolutely, I'll let you know.
Go get some of that delicious. What is it? That stealth. The stealth. Blah blah blah. What's our favorite wire now for antennas? I don't remember. The poly stealth.
Poly stealth 26 gauge. It'll be almost invisible. Yeah, it's good stuff.
I have a spool of green soda beams, something or other, and antenna wire, and it is delicious. Green is great in trees. It's perfect. All right.
In this case, I want white because it'll match the siding of the house, but hey.
Well, keep it away from the house as best you can. All right. Who's next? Any questions anywhere? Let's open this wide open. Let's go nuts.
Is my audio better now?
D. Paul, your audio is much better, man. Now we might believe you're actually a human being.
So I've actually answered a lot of the things I was thinking about. And that chameleon that Mike was talking about, that's the ones I use every day. But I am working on trying to get my NVIS inside of Texas. I'm north of Houston, and I do great all over the United States.
Mm-hmm.
But getting that NVIS inside of Texas is what I struggle with. Are there any pointers that somebody might have to?
Where in Texas you at?
Up by Willis.
So first of all, Texas
I'm in
is
Huntsville.
very big. Texas is
yeah.
He said north. He said he was far north of Houston.
Yeah, I heard you talking on the Waverly repeater the other day, Mike, or talking about the
nice.
Waverly repeater.
You said you're in Willis?
Yeah.
All right, I'll let you answer your question.
So what's Adam had another good question. What bands?
What bands are you trying?
Primarily 40.
Okay.
Because it's part of a project, and I've got a lot of guys that aren't hams that are acting as listening posts. So I've sent them tuned wire antennas to set up to their SDRs to check for propagation.
Okay, so then the next question.
What time of day?
Yep.
All times of day. So yeah, I do notice that about an hour after sunrise, I get better in-state propagation, but it's still very sporadic.
How high off the ground is the antenna?
I would expect. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's for height, I've gone upwards of 36 foot and downwards of 4 foot. So 4 foot propagation still works. It's just a lot more sporadic. Higher up, I get great propagation coast to coast, just not much in Texas.
Okay. Next question. How much power?
So I had been using the IC705, and I decided to set up. I set up the FT891, and I've pushed it up to 30 watts. I've been afraid to push it more than that.
Wrong answer. Wrong answer.
All right.
What? Why are you scared of what? It's a resonant antenna, right? It's resonant.
So the Chameleon one is not. The Chameleon Invis 4080 is, I think.
Okay, so let's go back a step. You have an antenna configured and set up right now. Is it resonant for the frequencies on 40 meters that you're trying?
Yeah, it is tuning perfectly fine. SWR of almost 0.
Well, you said tuning perfectly fine. You just said you're using the 891, which has no tuner. So are you adding a tuner, or are you physically adjusted the antenna so it's working?
We've done both. I've used the ones that are cut to the exact length, and I do have the FC50 tuner attached to it.
Okay. So I would say let's ditch the tuner, go back to fully resonant wire antenna, and give it the beans. Give it the full 100 watt. If it's a resonant antenna and it's tuned, it will be able to handle 100 watts, and the radio will be fine.
You single sideband on this, or are you running any other modes?
Mainly just single sideband and doing FT8 just because I can use the map to see my propagation if nobody's available to respond.
Yeah.
Yeah, so single sideband is going to be a lot harder, obviously, because you need a much better signal to noise ratio. And noise on the lower bands, 40, 60, and 80, are going to be significantly higher. It's just, that's how it works. Atmospheric noise, and you end up with more man-made noise, QRM, on those bands as well. But a common misconception with NVIS is that you need your antenna really low to the ground. They actually perform better, and you get more stronger vertical radiation if you're a little higher off the ground than, like a small fraction of a wavelength. So, quarter to half a wavelength is generally pretty dang good for NIVIS propagation and getting as much RF to go up as possible. So get it up, for a 40 meter, get it up 16 to maybe 25 feet, and that's probably going to perform best for you. QRP is going to be tough on those bands unless you're in a low noise environment and people listening for you are in a low noise environment. And then for 40 meters, you're going to do best probably midday for within a few hundred miles. Say 500 miles or less, midday is going to be probably best for you. But it's going to depend a little bit on the solar cycle. And how active the sun is, how thick the D layer is. The D layer is what's going to limit your NIVIS propagation. It's a big attenuator up in the sky between you and the ionosphere layers that send your signal back down. And the thicker and beefier that gets, the more it soaks up that RF on higher and higher frequencies. And 80 meters is probably not going to do anything at all during the day, and it'll give you a decent chance at local stuff at night. So you might consider 60 and 80 if you're trying at night.
So I want to. I'm almost bummed out that this question came up because there was a discussion that Adam and I had when we were out camping in the Sierras, and this exact topic came up. It was part of another topic that we had. And I haven't had the opportunity, well, Adam and I haven't had the opportunity to like do another live stream to particularly talk about this. And I think it deserves a bit more of a discussion because I think NVIS, everybody got all hot and bothered about NVIS, and there are realities to it that I don't think people are fully taking into consideration when they're jumping into it. And you're kind of brute forcing your way into it, and everything Adam told you, I think, is spot on, and you should try to do what he's doing, and see if that works out for you.
Yeah. I mean, and that sounds great. I mean, he's mentioned a couple things I haven't really tried, and I took my wife to a chicken festival today, so I said tomorrow's my all-day radio day, so I get before daylight until after midnight to play around with this in the park and figure it out.
So
you're doing that tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm doing that tomorrow.
Where are you doing it at?
I was going to do it over what's called Bear Creek Park, out 249. But I mean, if you're down to do something, I can probably go somewhere else over around Sam Houston.
No, I don't. Dude, you're in Willis. It's right down the street.
He's in
Yeah,
Huntsville.
DM me or email me. Yeah, I'm right in Huntsville, dude. We're right down the street. DM me or email me, k8mrd@icloud.com. I'd love to experiment.
No, I appreciate that. It sounds good. And you're on the South Coast Reflector from what I heard the other day, too, so you can reach me on there.
Yeah, don't count on me being on the repeaters.
There's only one thing I told my wife. I'm like, there's only one thing that can pull me away from a ham radio, and that's a good chicken festival. So good. I hope we helped you out, man. I hope you got something you can work with.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate it.
All right. Okay, who's next in there with a question? Go for it. Oh, but wait, hold on. We got hold on. Somebody tagged me in something really fast. I have a 7300 with an end-fed half-wave. Recommendation for coax type, and length. Well, so the length is going to be however much you need to go from the feed point of your antenna to the radio. And you might have to make some right angle turns to get in and around and into buildings and all that stuff. So you got to figure that out. I can't just give you a number. 1,000 feet. That'll do it. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. So as far as type goes, different brands have different types of coax that they mention. RG8X is a term that gets thrown around a lot. RG8XU has a little bit better shielding. If you're talking about HF, you don't pick up a ton of loss, 100 feet and lower than that regarding coax. You will always do better, though, if you spend more money on top quality coax like ABR Industries, Messi and Poloni. Mike's going to jump in here shortly. But the real trick of it is you got to figure out what your exact run is. That's why a lot of people buy bulk coax and they cut and terminate and crimp and solder the ends that they need. Type, though, you probably don't want to go any smaller than RG8X would be my recommendation. RG8XU would be, you'd be good. Mike, do you have anything to say there? I don't know. No way.
I had to unmute there. Yes, everything you said is correct. I will give a special shout out to ABR Industries because you mentioned RG8X. And I used 100 feet of RG8X for years when I was living in Michigan for my HF antenna, and I was using an MFJ off-center fed dipole, and I didn't need a tuner for it. It was resonant.
Oh.
But specifically, ABR Industries, there, I'm doing air quotes, RG8X is actually LMR 240. The benefit of that is that it has a foil shield as well as a braided shield. It's gonna reject noise better. So that's all I wanted to say. Get ABR. They call it RG8X or LMR 240. Either way, do that. It's great coax.
What is it 218?
I like Kleenex brand coax or Jacuzzi brand coax.
Yeah, No, when I go into HRO, they have 218. I have never seen ABR 8X.
All right. Okay. Hopefully that helps. Who's next? Questions? Go for it. Wide open.
Jim.
Evan. I think it was an Evan NR8E. If there's others, we'll come back to you.
Yeah, thank you. So I recently, mostly against my will, moved to probably the 4th worst place for QRM on the planet. And I was wondering if anybody had any suggestions. Basically, it's S9 plus noise all day, every hour on my NFED half wave. And I'm considering, mag loop, something like that. And right now, it's really feeling like Soda and Poda are my only options. But yeah.
Evan. You must have moved down the street from Don.
Evan, did you watch today's live stream?
Alas, I only got in a few minutes ago.
That's literally what we talked about today.
Oh my god! Well, thank you for going back in time and answering my question.
Literally today's I was literally S9 noise floor on 40 meters, and I was showing how you adjust your radio, how you could use something like AI noise reduction, how you can use a secondary receive antenna. I have a log, it's just a loop on the ground antenna. We hit up all the things.
All right, well, I will go bury my head in the sand or something.
No, you're good, man. You're good. I know people are busy, but yeah, it's there, man. It's there for if you want to watch it.
Okay, beautiful.
So yeah, if you want a pro tip, like go get a loop on the ground antenna is probably possible if you can swing that. Yeah. Otherwise, you might want to try this AI thing. It's free. There's no cost to it, and as long as you got a connection from your computer to your radio, you can make it happen.
All right, very good. I'm a little bit constrained in that I'm trying to keep my whole radioactivity secret from my landlord, but so I'm not sure loop on the ground quite works. It's a little more visible sometimes, leading upwards. But yeah, I'll
just go
take a look.
Go take the link. Go look at the link in the description to this AI noise reducer and try it. Just try it. It's free.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. That was wild. That's crazy. All right. Who's next? Anybody, anywhere? Let's go. Questions. That's it. We solved all the problems. Let's see. Why? Oh, parallel feed point for the. Why does the antenna have little red balls? See, that was my question. Here's. Let's see. Where is this from? U.S. Army. Okay, the Army. The Army's got hot. They're hot to trot for NVIS. By the way, did you know the military is diving back into HF? Chameleon Antennas has reached out, and we've talked about some stuff. I've had folks that I know in the military who have talked to me, reached out. I've been hit up by both the Marines and Army, different specialist groups, particularly regarding comms for HF. They're getting back into it. I won't talk about some of the things I've heard, but it's pretty wild, pretty crazy, the radios that they're using. Just assume that like a Harris radio, right? Very expensive HF radio, 20 watts. Do we know any other radios that are 20 watts and highly portable? I wonder how many of those we could buy in comparison to one Harris, and we just hot spared them whenever it went bad. And we just said, F it, and just threw it out. Assuming you don't need cryptos.
Made in China.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you don't need if it's purely for practice, purely for maneuvers. You go back to the Harris for the keyed stuff, but why not? Anyway, so this is the NVIS. This is 0.15 wavelength of the so they don't even specify 40 meters or lower. They're on a different frequency set. But so what's 1.5 of the say 40 meters? What would that end up at? I don't know. Oh, it's just 1.5 wavelength separation between the 5% longer reflector than the 1/2 wave. Oh, that's just a dipole. Special low Earth connectivity, NVIS. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And it's the two balls that were acquired there for some reason. Those are for open window line fed antennas, balanced antennas, because that's a balanced antenna we're looking at. Okay, there you go. That's what the Army tells you to
that
do.
first one you were talking about with the 5% longer wire, basically what they're describing is a vertical 2-element Yagi.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. Question. Let me see if I can go find this. Where is it on the Discord or on the YouTube? Do I need a choke or counterpoise or both when using an end-fed half-wave? I think you got to use a choke. Okay, sorry, I'm leading the witness. That depends. Is it for home? Is it for parks on the air? If it's for parks on the air, you probably don't need anything. You're probably fine. Just go out there, get that antenna as high up in the air as you can, go nuts. If it's at home, for portable, yeah, you don't need anything. Well, you tell me. If you go out in the field and you set up your end-fed half-wave and there's lots of noise, then they make... I know that ABR Industries has them. They make them little jumpers, little add-on bits of coax that has inline ferrites, and you just plug that onto the feed line of the antenna or at the feed line of the radio or both, and you can try them that way. I know Mike uses those. I've got a couple of them. I have coax with that built in already. So, yeah, that's what I would say for that. But do you need it for portable? No, you don't need it for portable.
But I think it depends still applies there because Mike's example previously with the chameleon antenna, basically he was having issues getting it to function fully properly because he had a length of coax that was messing with the tuning on it. So adding a choke in that case, if you're running a length of coax and it's thrown off the tuning of the antenna, adding a length of coax could be necessary and helpful. I typically run an end-fed half-wave directly attached to the radio with no counterpoise. So I don't need a choke. It goes straight to the radio. There's nothing, to choke there. and just the radio coupling to me or to the ground is adequate for the counterpoise aspect.
I know why this is then. Okay, so Mike, I swear I'll go get my first gen lefts if I have to. Doesn't the lefts have both a radiating element and a counterpoise connected to the winder?
That's a great question. I'm glad you asked that. I don't know because I have no idea what that antenna is. That and my sling antenna are just gone.
Oh, okay. Well, then I will answer this live.
But I don't believe it does. I don't believe it did, the one that I had.
Okay.
It might have. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, here is my repurposed county. Don't look at this radio. Nobody pay attention to that. You didn't see it. Hold on. Nobody saw that radio. Don't say anything.
Yeah,
about that radio.
I string that thing up every day. It does not have one on there.
It does not. Really? Okay. So, where is it? Next one. Oh, you know what? Is this the... Yeah, no, it's just one big wire, right? Okay, who wants to guess from the heat-shrinked wire wrap what kind of matching transformer is that? That doesn't look like a 49-to-1.
That's later than what I got.
Oh, okay, but that still doesn't look like a 49-to-1.
I didn't have the green wire. I didn't have the heat shrink on it. Like, it was just bare bones, raw dog. We made an end-fed and sent it to you.
Bare bones, raw dog end-fed. All right.
Yeah, you've got the new version, actually. That's the linked version.
So this is obviously this is the one that's not the raw dog. This has a little rain jacket on. See what I did there? Okay, very good.
It's still a 49 to 1.
I don't think it's a 49 to 1. I don't think that's a 49 to 1.
Okay.
I'll cut the
You cut
shielding
it
off.
open?
Don't make me cut the shielding off. I'll do it live.
If you don't believe me, do I need to claim shenanigans?
Shenanigans? What do you think, Adam, before I cut the shielding off? Do I have to cut the shielding off? What do you think here? Anybody want to jump in there?
All you gotta do is put some test equipment on it to find out what impedance it is. Haven't you watched Ape?
Yeah. Who watches that?
I'm making a funny, sorry.
No, I love Ape, but yeah, I don't know. I wanna play the now that I'm back on camera. Hold on, where'd my camera go? I want
The one that I got had 2 primaries and 12 secondaries, thus a 49 to 1.
I want to play the guess the turns game. Da 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 da. Nobody wants to take a hot guess?
Yeah. No, knowing Chameleon, I would say
9 to
49
1.
9
to 1.
Don't they like
More
60?
than 9
No,
to 1,
they don't do
less
9 to
than
1.
49 to 1.
I don't know. They like 64 to 1.
And likes to keep their secrets, I guess. They never listed on the website.
So what's the wait, let's see.
That looks an awful lot like a 49 to 1.
Oh, this is the original lefts that doesn't have the yeah, the new one you could just flugel nest your way out of the wire. You could just loosen it up and take the radiating wire off. This one you'd actually have to go in and mess with it a little bit. All right, what's the equation? Oh, wait, I can't give you the impedance because I have to go in and disconnect the radiator, right? I still have to cut the shield. Oh, damn it.
Mm-hmm.
What just happened? I lost... Is this why? Oh, there we go. That's better. What happened? Everybody got quiet. You waiting for me to cut the shield? Is that what we're doing?
You haven't used it enough yet. So your wire hasn't stripped at the base.
Right.
Hang on. Don't cut it yet. Don't cut it yet. I'm fixing to...
58 to 1.
56 to 1, I think, is the...
I just screen grabbed the antenna from the video that I did a few years ago about this. And I'm going to post it here if I can learn how to do internet.
So it's a 15 to 2 winding?
All right. So this is the antenna that Chameleon sent me. I just posted it in the chat.
That looks similar to what
That's
I have.
how it was sent to me.
Mhm.
That's a 40 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to cut yours open if you don't want. Although yours is different. They might have changed something. I don't know. I'd hate to see you do that.
That's
really good heat shrink that's on there.
I know. That is officially raw dog, as W4WWW has said. You could counterpoise that one, Mike, because they got the exposed pieces. You could just lengthen. You could lengthen that one nut and bolt combo.
I couldn't lengthen it.
And
I could,
add a
but that's
flugelness
not how
to
it's
it.
sold.
You could add a flugelness.
Hey, somebody, you said you quit vaping, and yet here you are.
Yeah, I did. So So fun story. When you vape for a really long
Do
time,
tell.
with these guys, you end up like hoarding them like in different places, and you don't really know that they exist anywhere. And then you find one, it's kind of like, oh, vacation from quitting. So we went to Palm Springs, and my wife was like, I need a really big backpack that I could put like a whole bunch of stuff in. I was like, honey, I got you covered. And I handed her a bag, and then she was going through it, and she's like, there's like so many vapes in here. And she quit too, like 3 days ago. And now we each have one again. So it's the old, literally.
Just found this pack of cigarettes. I'm just gonna have
I
one or two.
I got my. Now that I quit, that means I can have one, right? It's coffee and cigarettes.
Josh, I'm literally looking at 5 vapes in front of me, so I get it. But I haven't had a cigarette in like 6 months.
So I got demonetized over a month ago because on one of the after chats I brought up coffee and cigarettes from Tom Waits, which is one of my favorite, most awkward, cringe videos. Iggy Pop and Tom Waits go have coffee, And Tom Waits gives one of the best lines
Tom
of
Waits
all
is a
time.
cool cat, man.
Oh, it's so cool. He gives
Yeah.
the whole line of, well, now that I've quit, I can have one. And then they both sit there and smoke and drink coffee. It's a fantastically cringy video. And what's crazy enough about that is we, collectively, the HRCC, largely due to my wife and the podcast, we have created the Ham Radio Crash Course Movie Club, largely based off of the stupidity of our podcast preparedness corner. And we started taking recommendations for videos to watch, particularly around the area of disaster and preparedness and all that stuff. And the video we watched yesterday, which is this week's movie video, is the Book of Eli. And guess who is in the Book of Eli? Tom frickin' Waits is in the Book of Eli. He plays the quote-unquote engineer. Crazy. I was like, okay, well, there you go. Now that I've quit, I can have one. So there you go.
Still a 49-1.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. The Core is a horrible movie, but I do love The Core. Let me put it that way. It's a horrible movie, but I love The Core. It's a great movie, but it's bad.
I feel sorry for anybody who would follow your movie recommendations based on our history.
I have given you plenty of good movie recommendations. You just have one that you don't understand, and that's not my fault that you don't understand Mandy.
Oh, I don't understand Mandy.
Yeah. So there you go.
Anyway, I was looking on Thingiverse the other day, just like looking for like radio stuff to 3D print. But I was just kind of searching the homepage, and there were so many things that made me think of you. There was all the same thing, but different colors. It was a Nicolas Cage pickle ornament. So
Good.
picture a pickle with Nicolas Cage's head on it.
It's like Pickle Rick, but it's Pickle Nick.
Yeah. So like
Okay.
where I'm in the Midwest and I'm German, it's tradition to like hide a pickle in the Christmas tree.
Oh, Lord.
So it's kind of relevant right now. And then like whoever finds the pickle gets, some novelty prize, whatever. But it's just a fun thing to do. But I saw this Nicolas Cage pickle thing and I thought of you. So, yep.
Okay. I appreciate that. I do like a bad Nicolas Cage movie. Mandy is literally
Pickleous Cage.
Pickleous Cage.
Pickleous Cage.
Okay, you got me on that one. Good.
There it is.
Oh man. Okay, let's go back to some ham radio questions before we gotta wrap this show up.
What do you recommend for like a first time radio to somebody who's just starting out, other than like the Baofeng? Like I'm talking like ham shack type thing.
You know how we roll out here. Do you know what our first question is when somebody lays that egg on the table? What is it?
I do not know what that question is.
It's what's your budget?
What's your budget?
How much money you got?
Like, what do you want to spend? And it
Or
doesn't
how
have to
much
be a
credit do you
lot, but
have?
you got to give us an upper limit, right?
Upper limit of like, say $300, something that I can easily save up for.
So, are you trying to do just VHF, UHF, ham radio, handheld, Baofeng type stuff? Or are you trying to get into HF, like the stuff I'm doing above my head and the long distance communication stuff?
Eventually, I'd like to get into the HF type stuff, but for now, think I'm gonna stick with the VHF, UHF type stuff.
Are you trying to talk on repeaters? You know what's your goal, right? What do you want to do with radio?
Not reach out as far as I can, just talk to people in my local area, basically.
Well, that's all you got at this point. Like you're only going to be able to get like max 100 miles if you don't go HF, right? So that's kind of where we're asking these questions, because there are limits to how RF transmits over distance, depending on the frequencies that the radios operate on, right? So if you're talking about just local community stuff, but you don't want a Baofeng, but you want something that's under $300, we got tons of options for that. But are you trying to just talk to people? Are you trying to get on repeaters? Are you trying to do something called APRS for sending data, or packet for sending data? What is it that you want to get out of it?
Oh, APRS is going to be way too technical for me. I'm just thinking like talking to people or I don't know, stuff like that.
Well, okay, then I have to ask, why don't you just buy a Baofeng and start experimenting, and then after you get more knowledge, then you can take that remaining $300 and funnel it into something that's more based on what you're interested in. Because it's impossible for me to guess like what you're going to find attractive in the hobby.
Yeah, that is true. I guess it would be a little hard for me to kind of see into the future and figure out what I like. So
it's kind of like, let me put it this way. Like every time and I'm not saying you're a gun guy, I don't want to assume or anything like that, but if somebody came to me and said like, what's a gun, like what gun should I go buy? You're like, well, shoot, I don't know. Like what's the question? It's like, well, I want something that I can carry, like a handgun. You're going to go tell them to buy High Point? Probably not, because they'll have to move that at some point and get rid of it, give it to somebody, sell it or whatever. But at the same time, like a Baofeng is not like a High Point. It's still usable. It's not a cheap piece of crap. I mean, it is a cheap piece of crap, but it works fine. But you tell people to go buy something inexpensive to get their feet wet and then get into something. You wouldn't say, oh, you definitely need to go buy a Smith & Wesson, fully tuned out, wheel gun or some Gold Cup 1911. You're going to say like, I don't know, buy a Glock. Go buy a Glock 19. That kind of thing, right?
That makes sense, yeah. And yes, I am a gun guy.
Okay, well, so I didn't want to assume, but I kind of felt we might be talking the same language. But yeah, so it's like, you understand, right? So like there's so much baggage that goes into like, well, 1911 won 2 world wars, best gun ever made. You wouldn't tell somebody like off the street, like, oh yeah, go buy a 1911. No, you'd be like, go buy a Glock. Yeah, you have a blast. Take it to the range. Get some training time. Training time for you with a Baofeng is program it with repeaters, learn how it functions, build yourself a comms plan, get some friends, get some people involved in it. Boom, 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 right? Add to the list. But to just be like, nope, you got to go top of the line immediately, like that doesn't really make sense. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Craig.
Hey, Hayden just tore apart one of those new Quanching UV5R pluses, and I don't really care for those cheapo radios, but after seeing him gut that thing, I'm gonna get one, especially with the the basically the huge open market for anything you can want to do to that BIOS. I mean, it's incredible radio for $35, $20, you name it. So
mine's
if he's
dirty.
getting a first radio.
Mine's dirty.
What Hayden did this week, Quanching UV5R Plus.
Mine's rolling dirty, man. It's got spurious emissions. I can't recommend it.
Well, it's funny because he showed the whole primary section going into the antenna feed, and you could see they actually had filters installed. I mean, actual hardware parts. So I wonder what's going on with that.
Why'd mine fail?
Must be model to model, or who he's getting it from.
Well, so I don't want to assume where he got it from. Let's just assume he bought it wherever you can get it. But I bought mine off of Amazon. I didn't have no one contacted me. No one said, here you go, Josh, we're sending you this special radio just for you. I bought it like every other person on Amazon, and mine didn't pass harmonics testing. And then Ryan, you got me with the, you just recommended a UV5R. Again, the $18 UV5Rs I've recommended off of Amazon, I don't get special treatment. I buy them off of Amazon like all of you, and I have not had one fail. The $18 Amazon UV5R, nothing fancy, Baofeng, I've not had fail. There you go.
Well, if you get a chance, watch his video from the other day. Not too many people are willing to, show their skills tearing radios apart, and God bless Hayden for doing it. It was a struggle for him, but he did it, and we all got to have a first look at a so-called filtering section, which normally doesn't exist in those radios.
I'm gonna have to go watch because I already tested mine and it failed the harmonics the FCC harmonics test. So it doesn't matter what filtering they put in it.
Too. That would be fun.
I don't know. I'll go watch his video. I want to understand more what's going on there.
I'm just curious if you know if there's a difference between just the plain old UV5R and the UV5R 8 watt.
Yeah.
Other than the wattage.
No, I mean, I don't take apart the radios and do like board to board comparisons, like, you know, line them up next to each other and do anything like that. I just do the spurious emissions tests on them, and the $18 UV5R I've not had problems with, versus some of these other Baofeng models and some of these super cool. By the way, I love the Quansheng. The fact that you can just firmware swap it off of the website is freaking awesome. I love that. But mine didn't pass my test, so I'm not gonna recommend it. Yeah. So yeah, the Baofengs are different. Like, they have different hardware, they're different capabilities, different firmware that's loaded on them. They just use different nomenclature for the numbers for the different models. Yeah, they're gonna vary significantly in some cases, and they have to have different FCC identification codes for their different radios to get them cleared for sale.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And there's not a lot of difference certainly, but there's not a lot of difference between 5 watts and 8 watts. There just isn't. And so
yeah,
if there's a dollar difference, I would not pay the extra money for 8 watts.
I wouldn't either.
50 watts, yes, but they're not doing 50, and they never will in that kind of radio. So, but yeah, 8 watts is not 8 and 5 is not going to give you any kind of boost. By the way, one thing I would recommend is that you maybe get a small dongle and listen in your area and see if there's anybody around you.
Oh,
that
that's
you
not a
can
bad
talk
idea.
to.
Yeah, if you go get yourself an RTL SDR dongle, a little bit more than a Baofeng, but the advantage is you can get some coax, run an antenna outside your window, that kind of thing. Really good receivers.
Good idea.
And that'll give you you can not only listen to the amateur radio stuff that's in and around your area, but you can listen to first responders, you can listen to all kinds of radio stuff that's going on in and around your area. That's a incredibly good idea, really valuable. I would encourage you to do that, and then kind of decide where you want to go from there.
Comment.
Go ahead, comment.
Yeah, I got another comment.
Make sure you get the right RTSDL. Make sure you get the one that'll do HF stuff, because the other one kind of gets, unless you want to stay above 10 meters and below. I don't know what.
Well, it'll do HF stuff, but they now have one that has the up converter built in, is what you mean, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And for listening to VHF, UHF, I don't think you're going to have a problem with either of them.
That's true.
And the thing is, and I hate to say it, but what you may find, because that's true in our area, is you're going to find thousands of more people to talk to on GMRS than on VHF, UHF. I don't know why that is, but around here, the repeaters and all of that are dead most of the time. But boy, there is always somebody on GMRS.
There you go.
I've also been hearing that you don't need to take a test for a GMRS or anything.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
And currently it's $75.
No, they're all $35 for 10 years. So I'll give you the great argument for GMRS. $35 covers you, your significant other, your family, even to the point of it being like parents and, parents-in-laws. Brother, sister. GMRS is fantastic for close-in, two-way communication. The only downside is it's channelized radios, but they're really easy to use, and you can hand that off to anyone that you want to talk to within your family. Amateur radio, if you want your brother to talk to you on amateur radio, they got to go get licensed. You want your significant other to talk to you on amateur radio, they got to get licensed. GMRS doesn't work that way. You can get everybody on the radio quickly with GMRS, and it's a really good place for people to start, actually.
Right, and you can go all the way up to 50 watts on GMRS. There are repeaters on GMRS.
Yeah,
and one of the things we found around here is a lot of the repeaters are busy on GMRS frequencies. But you can also, it's removable antenna, so you can put an outdoor antenna should you choose to do so.
Yeah. A couple of things really fast. One, Ham Radio Tube said, my talk pod is clean. So I don't know where you got your talk pod from. And then somebody said, the talk pod is okay now, apparently. Your mileage will vary. So I bought my first talk pod, and it was trash. I bought it from Amazon. They shipped it to me. It failed every spurious emissions test I threw at it. 2 meters, higher, lower, whatever. They contacted me. I didn't reach out to them. They contacted me. They said, we fixed our problems. We'll send you a new one. They sent me a new one. Same exact profile for transmission. So I don't know what's going on with them, but yeah, no, it was not clean.
The
Not
Smoking Ape and I did a live stream. We tested all my radios with the Nano VNA. Or the Tiny SA, rather.
Okay, I was going to say, I'm like, okay. I believe you. I believe you.
TalkPod may have gone through their inventory of TalkPods to find a clean one to send me, but the one that I have is clean.
Did they
gave
send
me
it
the
to
whole
you?
spiel. They said after you did yours, I was like the last person on earth to get a TalkPod. So after you had already gone through your second or third iteration, whatever, they emailed me and they're like, hey, blah, 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 do you want to review this? I'm like, no. I've already seen all my friends review it, and it's terrible. And they're like, we fixed it. I'm like, well, if you fixed it, send it to me, check it out. And I did, and it's clean.
Hey, Mike.
Mike.
Just a question, Mike. I'm self-respecting, but honestly, I couldn't own a radio that sounds like something you would give your 4-year-old kid, like a Fisher Price, a talk pod. Come on.
Oh, I love it. I love that they're
That's
clear.
the name. Come on.
The clear
Think
is
about it.
clear. It's so awesome.
You're going to judge them by their name? Look at iPod, iPhone, iEverything,
Yep, them too.
iRobot.
Pods
Yeah, well.
grow on trees and you have nuts in them. I don't want a pod. I want a radio.
Okay,
whatever.
well, you
And
got
Mike-
Craig. You've got some emotions tied up into it. It's not. Who cares about a name, man?
I just I'm old and cranky, so I've been sick for 4 weeks.
Oh, okay, all right.
Hey, what frequency you want to meet on 80 meters?
Did they have a sick with COVID for almost a month now frequency?
Yeah, they probably do.
Mike, you're not the last one. You're not the last one to be sent to TalkPod. I can guarantee that.
All I know is I paid for the first one. It failed. They said, "Oh dang, we fixed it. Here's the second one. It also failed." Unless my testing scheme is totally wrong, which I believe my testing scheme is the same as the Smoking Apes, mine failed.
Here's the thing I have
But
about
we've also reviewed the 6100 and the G106.
Yeah.
Well,
and
here's the thing that I have about those radios.
Yeah.
Is why, I mean, those guys should talk to the Baofeng guys. Why can't, I mean, they're all in China across the street from each other, right? Can't they just walk
open a
across the
window
street?
and go like, "Hey!"
Yeah, just talk, hey, what are you guys doing for filtering? We want to do the same thing in our radio. Hey.
I don't
just
know,
saw
man.
a TikTok the other day about a guy using a talk pod.
Yeah.
He was talking on some frequency. It shocked the crap out of his hand.
I was at a Cub Scout camp, and there was.
I think I saw that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. I was at a Cub Scout camp. It was for Boo Fest. All the kids were dressed up in costumes, and I've got my, I'm all scout dadded out like the king of nerds with my, I got an HT on my backpack, and I'm following the kids around doing all that stuff. Mind you, I just finished doing jamborees on the air on my truck, and I'm walking around, and sure enough, there's a troop. They had like 5 talk pods, green ones and black ones and clear ones. And I was like, yo, where'd you hear about that radio? They're like, oh, we saw some YouTube videos on it. I'm like, all right, man, good for you. I'm like, you have radio license? They're like, we're working on it. And I'm like, that sounds about right. I'm like, okay, cool. I hope you get licensed. And I was like, see you later. So that was my experience with the talk pods. So they definitely got legs on them, man. There's a lot of people out there running those talk pods. Go. Somebody had a comment. Go ahead. Was it Raspberry? Go ahead.
Yeah, who I didn't see who said it, but whoever mentioned that TikTok, I think I saw the same one. Like this guy was out on a walk and he had a green talk pod and he was transmitting for like a few minutes and then it just actually burned him.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, that was me. That I was like, yeah, I don't think I would go with something that would put out that much of anything to burn you.
It'll light your pants on fire.
I found a Kindle
I
today.
do want to say, guys, I traded an old metal detector for an FT70, and I'm on the nets every night, and the guys appreciate me using a clean radio. That's
What metal
the one
detector?
Thing you got to think about.
What metal detector did you trade?
It was a 350. One of the old 350.
A Garrett 350?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
he was
good
the
come
guy
up.
who was tired of his radio, and I needed a radio. I wanted to get on this net. I've been doing exactly what you suggested. Been listening to it for
Good for you.
a year and a half.
Good for
and
you.
I'm like, I need to talk to these guys. It's a positivity net. That's all they talk about for an hour. Positive stuff. And
nice.
So I traded the FT70, and the dude who's going off the air, sadly, showed me how to program it, and that was last August. So I've been on that net every night for I've got 120 check-ins now.
Good for you.
Didn't spend a dime. So it's
Hey,
good to have a clean radio.
I think that's also a good. That's a fair trade for a Garrett 350 to a FT70. That's a legit fair trade. So both of you got a good deal on that. So good for you.
I think that's. I'd agree with Josh on that.
Yeah, I think that's great. That's, by the way, those are two fantastically adjacent hobbies if you think about it, because metal detectors are also basically radios when you get right down to it. So,
has anyone tested the QRZ Explorer for spurious emissions?
I tested the TYT something or other, which is the same radio, and I think that one barely passed. But I should get my hands on I should sneakily get myself a QRZ without anyone knowing I'm buying it. See, that's my problem now. Now I don't want to take any of these handhelds from anybody because I get all these offers and I'm like, yeah, sure. Like TID Radio did that to me. And I got the TID radio and it not only failed to meet the harmonics, but it didn't put the power out that they stated it would. And so I told them, I'm like, yo, what's up with this? And they're like, oh, don't worry about it. We'll send you another one. We fixed it. But so now I've got to go buy one as a consumer and test that at the bare minimum to even do the video on it, because it's like, well, like, what the hell? Because they could send me some, fixed something radio that I worry about this. Like, I don't even want to test HTs anymore, man. It's turned into a freaking nightmare.
I mean, I get
Don't change. We trust you for this. Don't change.
Well, yeah, but I want to not have to blow a bunch of money on this stuff, but now I'm having to go buy multiple iterations of the same radio to just test the radio that they sent me to say, like, oh, is this some gigged up radio that you sent out? Like, how do I trust this anymore? I don't know, man. It scares me.
We'll start a fund for you. I promise you that.
It's called my Patreon. Go join my Patreon. There you go.
Done.
Linked in the description.
Done.
Yeah, because, I mean, the TID radio is the next on the list, and they keep emailing me, and it's like, well, like, the first one you sent didn't pass. The second one's, like, barely squeaking by, and so now I got to go buy it and, hopefully get, just an average one off the Amazon shelves to be able to determine, like, what's going on there, so.
But even when you buy your own, there's still the chance that it's going to fail again, and it's just more wasted money.
Well, no, but see, that's exactly the point. If I buy one off of Amazon, Amazon doesn't know who I am. If I buy one off of Amazon and it fails, but the one they sent me passed, that means they gigged up that radio to pass my tests. They sent me a special radio.
It does make me wonder if they're sending out like special talk pods to the YouTubers.
Well, I didn't get a special one because mine sucked.
Well, after
hang on.
Yeah,
I get a lot of the radios that I get sent to me from China are shipped from Amazon. Yeah, like they come in an Amazon box. So I kind of feel I might just be getting a random radio.
My TID radio
My
was not that.
TalkPod came Amazon.
My TalkPod was
I don't
also
think
Amazon.
Mine did. I think mine came directly from China. I'd have to look at the packaging again.
If you have to cut through like 18 layers of yellow tape, it came from China. If it comes in an Amazon box, it comes from Amazon in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think Amazon delivered mine, so I thought it was the USPS.
My TalkPods were Amazon. Both of them were Amazon. The one I paid for and the one they shipped me. The TID radios were some kind of weird something or other. What's that?
I was just saying they just sent me one like last week to review.
Do you have a Tiny SA?
No, I need to get one. I think I saw K6UDA made a video about using his Nano.
No, the Nano doesn't do it.
Then yeah, guess I'm getting a Tiny SA then.
So here's the sad thing for all these YouTubers that get contacted by these Chinese companies. We've all started doing these spurious emissions tests, and to be honest with you, I think you got to do it for just building trust within your community. I think you gotta, if you want to do a review of a radio that doesn't necessarily pass spurious emissions, that's fine. I think that's okay. I think there are people out there that say, hey, you know what? Thank you for telling me about this. I'm an adult. I'm still gonna buy this cheap radio that has a lot of features like the Quancheng. I can see an argument where somebody says, I really don't care about the spurious emissions. This thing's just too dang cool to pass up. I get it. But for all the, people who are making YouTube videos now, you should totally do these tests, I think. I think you really should.
Not to spoil my review, but I think I'm going to probably durability test mine in some pretty harsh ways if it fails the spurious emission test.
I have a stack of radios that I need to quote unquote durability test with my my Browning Sporter.
Yeah, I was going to say, so the K-Booty way.
Yeah, it didn't work out. We were close to Anza Borrego, but there's a couple places in Anza Borrego I can go to with a skeet thrower. That's right, Jody. And my 710 Sporter, or my Browning. I don't even remember. 740. I don't remember what it is. Anyway, over under Sporter. I'll bust some bow fangs.
I will say this: don't ever buy the FT70 from me used, because I drop it at least twice a day, and since August, and the thing just goes and goes and goes.
Now, the only issue with the by the way, FTC, I will be equally handed with my comments that I will throw out. There is almost no Japanese radios I've had that have failed spurious emissions test, but Japanese radios will sometimes be absolute battery hogs, and the FT70 is one of those radios. The FT70 has pretty poor battery life. Are you running analog only and you turn off the digital modes, or how are you getting life out of your radio, Craig?
Yeah, I just stick with analog, and fortunately the guy that traded to me off of the ham radio clubhouse swap, he threw in 3 batteries, so I knew what I was running into.
That helps. Oh, that's funny. I have a rock tumbler. That's actually I didn't say that. Nobody heard me say anything like that.
I'll take that test. I'd love to see that.
No, don't. Nobody do that. Nobody heard that. Nobody saw me post that. Shh.
You gotta polish up your signal.
Just gotta make a quick note here.
Thanks for the contact.
Perfect. Polish the signal.
Just gotta make a little note here, a little notey note in my long growing list of video ideas.
Well, there's got to be a blank spot.
Okay.
Josh is busy taking notes.
Nothing happened there. We're fine.
So
okay.
Does Josh reload?
I used to. Well, so I used to shoot. Okay. Having kids seemed to put a damper on my competitive shooting, but I used to shoot semi-competitive trap and skeet, and yeah, we were full on reloading. It was a group of us that were doing it. You have to. Like if you're dropping like 400 plus shells a day and you shoot 3 or 4 times a week, yeah, you're gonna be reloading. You have to. You also get to cut down to we got towards the lower end of the loads. What's a general skeet load? I don't remember how much shot you put in a general in an average skeet load.
7/8 or something like that.
Yeah, so
but you probably went.
We went a little lighter because most of us were pretty good shots. We were generally shooting we were all north of 20 plus birds in a game. So we would generally lighten the load for all the reloads. Yeah, so I thought it was
you need the velocity. You don't need the amount of shot. You just need enough to get the clay.
Yeah, that's right. And most of us, particularly for skeet, you're not running like pretty tight chokes anyway. I think modified is mostly what I used for skeet, and that was fine. It was a Dylan. Yeah. No, wait, Dylan's the progressive, right? Dylan's the really nice progressive system. I wasn't the guy with the reloaders. I would go run the machine and
Dylan is usually for rifles and pistols. You're probably talking about, and I can't remember the name of it right off the top of my head. It's a red one that you.
His
and
was gold.
Progressive.
His was gold aluminum, and they rotated, and it was progressive. Yeah.
It's been a long time for me in reloading shotgun.
Dylan,
probably in high school.
You son of a bitch, Dylan. That's right. So somebody sent me a QSL card. That is this. I got it, dude. Look at Arnold's freaking bicep explode when dude. That's insane. I got this QSL card with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers, and I'm showing this to Leia, and I'm like, what is this from, Leia? She had no idea what movie that was from. And I'm like, are you kidding me? She's like, yeah, I don't know where that's from. And I'm like, I can't. So, okay. I need to take a quick break. I'm going to run some memes. I got to run to the restroom. If there's a question, hop in there. Someone will help you out. And then we're going to be back, and we're going to run a little bit longer, and then we're going to wrap things up, because I think they want to try and run a movie. I think the kids want to do a movie. I don't know what Leia wants to do. But I know she wants
to watch Reacher.
I do need to watch Reacher, because we watched our... Oh,
yes.
Okay, I don't want... Okay, I'll be right back. I'm gonna be right back. Somebody, if you have a question, this is the time. Jump in there. Go for it. Now is the time.
Because nobody messes with the special investigators.
Yeah.
Are you guys caught up on that?
Josh isn't, so I wouldn't talk about it.
Yeah, I haven't watched
I don't even
I don't want to give nothing away, but so far so good.
Yeah. I'm. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I think this second season's better than the first season.
I don't know.
That's always good to hear.
Yeah, I don't know.
Number one better.
Yeah, I'm just not sure yet. I really want to see how it ends, but I'm not as like I've got to watch every single episode kind of thing, meaning that I don't watch it every week. I'll put it off for a week or two and then watch 2 or 3 episodes. So I just am not as drawn to it as I was before. Maybe that's just because it's not new, but I'm really enjoying it.
I like it better when I can binge.
Yeah.
So I watched 2 over the weekend or during the week, I guess. And yeah, so far so good.
I started watching the Percy Jackson series on Disney that just started with my youngest son, and that's pretty good too.
I've seen some of the old movies that they made of Percy Jackson, and I enjoyed them because I'm a big fantasy fan. I even liked the thing that like a lot of people hate, which is the Wheel of Time series on Amazon. But yeah,
You probably know
I've
my
enjoyed.
daughter. She's the master of the deck. She just did that video. They were on the dirty wheel the other and dusty wheel the other night.
I've seen it, but never watched it.
And of course, if you haven't seen the live action One Punch, you have to. Or sorry, One Piece, not One Punch.
Live action One Punch would be cool.
I was gonna say, where's the who's playing Saitama on that one?
On One Piece.
One Punch Man.
Oh, yeah, no, I've never seen One Punch Man. I've seen it advertised on YouTube, Netflix, but I just haven't been that interested.
Yeah, Saitama is my hero. He's the reluctant kind of hero. He doesn't really want to be, but he is. So
are we talking about One Punch Man?
Yeah, because I accidentally mentioned it when I meant to say One Piece, but anyway.
Dude, One Punch Man is hilarious. Hilarious. It's such a good anime. It's like a Kill la Kill. It completely turns the anime genre upside down. It's great.
Josh?
Yep.
Are we allowed to post our videos in the Discord?
Oh, yeah, you should post them in the Discord, particularly the hashtag live stream text chat, because that goes straight to YouTube and it bypasses all the restrictions over there.
What was the channel again?
Hashtag live-stream. Go for it.
It's right above the chat you're in.
Let's see. Oh, we lost the K-Merds. He's gone. Frank and Grayman are still here. I think we lost Adam as well. So no.
You guys hear about the Mickey Mouse, Sailboat Willie or whatever, Steamboat Willie?
Steamboat Willie.
Being in the public domain now.
And there's a horror movie all about it.
There's a bunch of
that was like the Winnie the Pooh horror movie, right? That came out last year.
Kind of the same concept, yeah.
Total trash.
Oh yeah, you get drugged out on your couch and you watch it with your eyes all blood red. Like, what did I just watch? Let's watch it again.
All right. Do we have any other radio questions before we just let loose the dogs of war into complete nonsense?
Yeah, I got one.
Go for it.
All right, so I haven't bought an HF radio yet. So did I just buy a Rig Expert Stick 500 before I even buy a radio, or what?
No. Wow. Okay.
Think about it.
Okay. You want to get onto HF, right? You're like, I'm getting on
I'm
HF.
not chomping at the bit. I've been having plenty of fun on VHF, UHF satellites, and other things.
Is your avatar Coilover Springs? Is that Teens?
Yeah, that's the Teen Dampachi. Yeah.
Dude, that's freaking awesome. I used to
like 1999 or something.
I used to have those in my Civic.
They're great for the price.
Yeah, man, Teens are great. All right. Man, that was crazy throwback. All right, so all right. Are you planning on building VHF UHF antennas?
I just want to make sure I got things covered. I the more I think about antennas, I just feel like I want to experiment like more and more,
Okay.
Like, just come up with all sorts of crap.
So I'm gonna go with the Baofeng of antenna analyzers. Just get yourself a Nano VNA off of Amazon. It's likely gonna do more than like a Rig Expert stick is gonna do anyway in most situations. And it's a learning tool. Like you can learn how Smith charts work and all kinds of other stuff with that.
Okay. All right, cool.
Nano VNA.
You test filters, everything.
Yeah, you can do through testing. You can't do that with the Rig Experts. Rig Expert's great, but it's not going to do through. It's not a VNA. It's not a proper vector network analyzer. Get yourself a a nano VNA to start, and then decide. You don't have to go further than that because honestly, it does everything.
Grab a tiny SA2. Great noise sniffers.
Yeah, they're great.
So I should
But
be able to, like, I could build a Moxon or cut wire antennas and all that stuff with a nano VNA. And
oh hell yeah!
my radio, which is
Yeah! Oh yeah!
Cool. Sweet. Yeah, that's all for me.
Yeah, man. I hear you. Good question. All right. What else?
What happened to 20 meters tonight?
What do you mean? What happened to it? Where'd it go? Is it gone? Did somebody do something to 20 meters?
I think somebody stole it because I thought my radio was broke because I wasn't picking anything up on FT8.
I just went straight to 40 and I haven't gone back because I was doing all that noise stuff with the AI.
Well, I'm looking at my the ham clock, and for some reason, is that days ago? Okay, that's days ago. We had some big drop in the solar, and it's back up now. So I don't think that would have affected it today.
20 meters was very weird today. I was out doing a POTA activation, and I did not get the results I normally do on it. So I would say there was probably some sort of slight solar disturbance that made 20 meters unhappy today.
I'm looking at my live spots on my ham clock, and it says 20 meters 0.
Yeah, my vocap is also showing a lot. It just doesn't look good at all.
All right, who didn't pay the bill?
That's right, Tim.
I think Leia turned off the secret switch.
Yeah, she turned on all the touch lamps in the entirety of the United States. That's what the problem is.
So does something change with 40 this time of year? Because I didn't used to get any DX at all on 40.
Yes, winter is 40 and 80 DX.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know that.
No signals on 20 meters right now. Nothing. Just like I thought my radio was broke. I thought my 7300 was giving up. I was going to switch over to 7610.
I mean, that happens. That's true. We are. So again, this is 2024. This is going to be a hot year for some of the higher bands. 20 meters should start staying open longer, depending. 2025 should be a pretty interesting year for a lot of HF stuff, particularly 20 meters and higher. I really can't wait until 10 meters stays open past nightfall. I'm hoping we get to that soon. I'd love that.
I've seen it open past nightfall here.
Recently?
Yeah, recently, but in the last couple of months, yes, I've stayed on it. I've stayed on it in 12 up until like 9 o'clock.
Ted really wants me to answer his question. Is anybody doing RTTY Roundup? I am not doing RTTY Roundup, but Kyle, AA0Z is. I was watching his channel. I like RTTY. I'm just not. So, guys, I'm gonna take the opportunity here. Go back to myself for a second. And actually, we'll do it this way. I got a family, and there's seldom a weekend where I can tell my wife, "Hey, honey, you're on your own this weekend." I've got to do a lot of ham radio. That's just not on the cards for me, really. Like I can't just check out and go hide in the ham shack for 12-hour, days. It's not possible for me. So I love it that everybody gets out there contesting. I love contesting. I get a couple of them a year. Field day is like I'm doing winter field day. I'm going to be out there. I gotta talk to the folks that are coordinating some of this stuff, but we actually have a physical location for Winter Field Day. It's gonna be awesome, and obviously Field Day in June. I'm active in, but like I can't commit more than that most of the time. It's too much. Just too much going on.
Question.
Oh, Ted. Okay, sorry, Ted. Ted was implying that the reason why 20 meters is dead is because of the RTTY Roundup, that everybody's on RTTY. I don't think so. I don't know that RTTY's that big of a draw anymore, that single sideband folks wouldn't still be on 20 meters SSB or the folks on FT8.
And wouldn't there be 20-meter RIDI?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, was there 20-meter RIDI? Go.
Nope. Didn't even see that.
No, it's dead. It's dead.
It's
dead. It's dead.
Yeah, yeah. So that was my thing. If they're not contesting on it, then there's something going on.
Well, 40 meters just kind of also took a dump on me. I'm not making any contacts on 40 meters right now.
You made a contact with me a few minutes ago in South Dakota.
N2JT was the last one.
You got me a little while ago. I got a question about the ham clocks.
All right.
I got one. I bought the little computer with the ham clock. Stood there and right at 11 o'clock my time, ordered it, and all my buddies have picked them up too. But I have a Geochron, and I am not going to renew that bundle. It's going to be up in a few days. I'm not going to renew it because I don't see the worth in it. But I kind of like the ham clock better. I wish I knew about this before I spent all that money on this thing.
Well, so the ham clock came out a little bit after the Geochron dropped, and the ham clock isn't service bundled. Geochron's going to charge you yearly for some of the ham radio service stuff, right? So that's the reality of it. It's just a different way of doing business. I know Don Wilbanks is absolutely loving his ham clock. He's got one of those little tiny PCs that he has connected to it, and I'm going to be setting up something like that in the future. I just haven't gotten to that yet. So, oh, there's the Ham Radio DX. Thanks, Craig. Craig, so the circled yellow part is the output stage for the antenna. Okay, I see some inductors in there. Is he implying that that's the filtering? Is the inductors, or what are we?
Looks like the lack of filtering.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't see any filters in there.
That doesn't look like enough filtering at all.
Yeah, I gotta go. Okay, I don't want to speak for Hayden or against Hayden. I consider Hayden a friend of mine, but this does not look necessarily like filtering on the board there.
He notices, he points out the disturbing lack of the entire USB-C section that they ripped out for this new model, but it's his first real teardown of doing something like this, and so my hat's off to him for being willing to do that live and not edit it, and he ended up fragging it. It's now a bricked radio, but
oh, cool.
He was brave. He deserves the credit for being willing to gut that thing and show that he's not, he's not like a super radio technology expert. He's good at what he does, though.
Yeah.
So we finally got to see the guts of one of these.
So there's the link for the video, and I'm very sorry when you mentioned Quansheng, I'm thinking that the Quansheng you're talking about is the other one, not this weird Baofeng. But like if you go, let's go back to his channel. Which one am I thinking of? Where is it? He's been doing a lot of stuff.
Or the M7.
Yeah. The one that has the firmware upgrades. The V. Where is it? He doesn't have the. Oh Lord. What's the one you can just upgrade the firmware off the USB on your computer off the website?
I know TechMinds just recently did a review on it.
Yeah. The problem is TechMinds doesn't really do spurious emissions tests either. At least Hayden does.
Oh, no, he doesn't. True.
He just finds whatever the coolest thing is off of Wish and he talks about it and he gets like 50,000 views and it's like, okay, well, great, but I don't know. I don't have the same.
He was doing great building QO100 stuff, but then he's back to reviewing all the crap he gets sent.
Well, he reviewed the Hermes, so
he did,
but then he never did it. He never did anything with it.
Well, because he gets sent a lot of stuff that he's got to keep hammering out more stuff reviews. The UVK5, it's not the K6, right? The K6 is the one with the gray screen and the metal front.
Yep, he talks about in the last 2-3 weeks, he's covered them all now pretty much.
Yeah.
He likes the new screen on this Baofeng lookalike. He's not pleased that they pulled the USB-C, but they apparently put a 3300 milliamp hour battery in there to replace the degrading of charging abilities.
Meh. Okay. I've seen
I
what
don't
I
know,
need
that
to
doesn't
see.
that doesn't look like a Baofeng to me, but
The screen's too big. I think they just made like they tried to like pretend they made a more expensive radio look like a Baofeng, which is wild. That is a wild thing to do. That's crazy.
well that
What's
other
the
You
little
phrase
nailed
that
it.
speaker in the
came
middle
out
He
of
of it.
the
believes so too. They're going after the Baofeng market with a Baofeng name, and he even said as much. It's
Yeah.
all name brand
They're just
recognition
straight up
going for.
trying to steal the market cap by making the screen a little bit bigger. That's wild.
What was the name that Sarah Palin gave us? Lipstick on a pig?
Sarah Palin, man, that's a word. That's a name I haven't heard in a while.
That's a good one.
And that's been around in the South for years.
Oh yeah, lipstick on a pig's been around forever.
There's an
Oh
old
my
Irish
gosh.
saying my wife has told me about pigs and stuff like that. She said, trying to teach a pig to sing is a waste of time and it irritates the pig.
Yeah, I've heard that one too.
Yep. Good idioms.
I must be hanging out in the wrong room.
Okay.
No, you got to be in the South.
My family's in Georgia, and I never heard that one.
Yeah,
You've never heard of lipstick on a pig?
Oh no, we've all heard that one.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? All right.
Yeah, the other one I've heard too, and again, but a lot of my family's farmers. I don't know if that has anything to do with it or what.
It's the Irish part of Louisiana my wife's from.
I have used this literally in engineering discussions on why we're spending more developer time going above the design that we agreed to and we're paid on. You're putting lipstick on a pig, guys. You got Cadillac dreams and a Fiat budget. Keep it within spec, guys. You're blowing the doors off the scope here.
Yeah, at least y'all have specs. We have to do whatever the customer says on the other end of the line, no matter how much it costs us in the end. And I've never understood that.
Somebody's getting paid, Don. You're getting paid for that.
We know we're not getting paid.
That's just
know
what
we're
you
not.
think, man. Because you know why that went to some bonus in some upper level director's pocket.
No, I'm telling you, what happens is if we do it for them, then we can sell it to the next guy. That's what is always the hope. It's a marketing ploy that we can say we had this feature, even though this new customer has told us about it. Well, then we're hoping we can sell it to another customer. That's how that works.
Pretending that it's a sunk cost.
Yep.
Sunk cost fallacy is what they call that.
And we do. I mean, we do the same thing with
well.
Dell, and we do the same thing with Dell and these other companies too. So it's not just us.
I'll give the quick background on myself as an engineer. I have worked in the aerospace engineering market for 20 years now. 13 of those were spent with Boeing. I work for another company now. I've worked on protected military communications for satellites. I've literally programmed payload software, the host bird software, ground station software. A number of my birds are in service still, have been well beyond their expected lifetime, and some of my other programs are still up in there that I can't really talk about. Now I mostly work in the stuff I can't really talk about. That's why I don't mention the company I work for.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service. You do protect all of us here.
Nah. So I literally had a sit. I had a sit down with myself. I sat myself down. I said, Josh, you're gonna have to do a little bit of thinking here. And I went. I had the decision. I was gonna go to the military, or I was gonna go, college and get done and get out there as fast as possible. I decided to go. Obviously, I decided to go college. I got done in like 3 years. I interned with Boeing on my last year. for a full year. I've been working basically military stuff since I was in college, but that's not service. No one should congratulate me for that. I got paid for all of this and continue to get paid, and get paid very well. Now I'm a manager, which literally means I'm just working numbers and all that other fun stuff. So yeah, nobody thank me for my service. Thank the appropriate people for their service.
Did you ever fumble around with something that you weren't interested in before you found what you were interested in? Like I was literally going to be a tuba player for about, I don't know, 7 or 8 years.
Oh no,
now that ain't going to work, and moved to something.
Boy, that's a really good question. So I have been a worker. I've been working since I was 15 years old. I got a really sweetheart deal in my sophomore year of high school. I happened to get noticed by one of the teachers that ran a computer lab. And she said, "Do you know how to work on computers?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do." And because I'd been building computers at that point. And she's like, "I need you to go talk to this person." This is back in the Wild West where they let kids like literally fix computers on the campus. By the time I was a junior in high school, I was on the payroll for the high school. My junior year I had a half day every day. I literally stopped school at 12 noon, clocked in to the school, and was working, fixing the computers at that school, building computers, fleshing out the network, doing all that stuff. I was getting paid $12.50 an hour at the school in 1998. 98 sounds about right.
Yeah.
And then that parlayed into I had just finished high school and started going to college. I was there doing computers, like literally just building out computer labs, fixing computers, doing the IT stuff. I worked for the district for a while, and I was doing all of it, and I was looking at all this, and I'm like, I know that everything I'm doing right now is going to be replaced by cheaper and faster people that can do this. People that don't live in the country that I live in, people that are they focus on just building out computers, or the help desk is going to evolve into a thing that isn't literally me walking over to the teacher, fixing their computer, and going, bye-bye. Like, do you remember Nick Burns, your company's computer guy from Saturday Night Live? Everybody remember that? That was one of my favorite bits because it would come on. I'm like, that's me.
Move over.
Move. Yeah, like I wasn't a jerk because I couldn't have been. I was literally fixing my teacher's computer, so I can't be like move. And also I can't really like look at their files because it was like my grades were in there in some cases. It was wild. It was literally the Wild West. But I knew that's like that time of making money on that. It couldn't exist for that much longer. So I said, okay, well, what's the next thing that's close to my skill level? And it was software development. And so I just moved all that out of the tech area and moved it over to the engineering area and got trained in that, studied in that, and there you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, I'm so much older than you. I mean, when I was in high school, there weren't computers. Literally,
right.
It was mainframes, and that was it.
Well, I was there for the transition.
I would love to have that.
Yeah, I was there.
Well, I was there for the start, so
I was there for the transition from typewriter to computer in some of these typing labs. And understand, like the high school I went to was huge, so they had different levels of capabilities of students. And some of those students, they didn't even want to give them anything but a typewriter for the typing stuff. And then it turned into and we're talking 1998, which is crazy because the internet was already almost 10 years old at that point. But yeah, I was there pushing the whole narrative for a lot of schools. We got grants. I can't even the stuff that I was allowed to play around with and got paid to do it as a high school kid is insane. I was extremely lucky. Nobody could do what I got to do. But also the kids have it a little bit better than I did, because now they have actual like freaking classes they can go to for robotics and engineering and all this other stuff that they can just do as part of their whatever. I had to go seek this out. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, and this will date me for sure, but we actually had a college course in how to read the Hollerith code. And I'll bet you haven't even the Hollerith code.
No,
that
I
was
don't know
the
what that
code
is.
that was on. That's the code that's on the punch cards.
Oh no, I did not have to do that. No.
I started with Spirit Univac machine language, and I don't know, 89.
It's 360, 370 assembler is what I did.
I was there for the switch between Novell Network, and we went to Windows Server.
I was there before.
That was like my first or
Novell
second.
Network. In fact, I was there in the early days of DARPA. We had one of the systems that was on DARPA.
Hey, Josh, I was certified in both.
Oh, I wasn't a big fan of Novell. Oddly enough, everything we got out of the market of was all the things I complained about. I was there. So, oh my gosh, guys, you want to know the biggest scam of all time? I can't. Okay, so here's
Computer
a bit of the weeds.
certifications.
No. I didn't have to do any of this because I'm a kid. What are they going to do? Fire me? I'll go work somewhere else. Like, oh, but you're fixing everything and everybody likes you. Then there you go. I never pranked anybody. I never hacked anything because why? I was getting paid really good money. Minimum wage was $7.50 an hour at the time, and I was making double that basically, just screwing around fixing computers, which I wanted to do anyway. I got called into a meeting. When was it? It was June, so just before the school got out. 1999. And we had a consultant come in. Anybody know what that consultant wanted to talk to us about? 1999. Preface that date again.
Y2K compliancy.
Yeah.
Yep. And we had a dude roll in. And I'm sitting there. The principal, the assistant principal, the assistant principal was my boss. And I've got literally the person I worked with, she had graduated 2 years. So she was 2 years older than me. She ended up anyway, it was a weird romantic triangle kind of thing. But she was full on punk rock. And I'm not kidding, like full on punk rock, like crusty punk, butt flap, only bangs, and the rest of her head was shaved. And they did like leopard spots, like spray paint. Punk rock chick, right? The most punk rock chick possible. She was the head of IT. She's sitting across from me at this table, and we got this guy that comes in, and he's talking all about Y2K. And he's like, well, we want to run these software scanners for your blah, blah, blah. Basically, they brought us in to tell us that we need to take these floppy disks and go computer to computer and run this scan. And I looked at him and I said, you want me to go to 300 plus computers on this campus and run this scan? And he goes, yes. And I'm like, what is this scan looking for? He's like, well, it's looking for any hardware and software that's running on the system that won't be Y2K compliant. And I'm like, okay. And I don't remember all the details, but the biggest thing I remember is that he goes, the one of the things that really, we should be worried about is any hardware that isn't Y2K compliant, because we got to swap out those devices before the year rolls out. And I'm like what? Like what device? Like, are we talking like a BIOS or something like that? Like, what are we talking about? He's like, no. Like, we've had floppy drives that are not Y2K compliant. And I looked at him like, why would a floppy drive not be Y2K compliant? And he goes, well, some of the chips, you understand, on the drive are not compliant for Y2K. And I'm like, the floppy drive doesn't care about dates. It's simply a reader of data, a reader and a writer. And they're like, well, yes, but our scan tool has failed on some of these drives, and we will sell you the replacement drive, and then you can go swap it out. And I told my boss, I'm like, I'm not going to run their tool. I'm not going to do any of this stuff. We need to check our servers, but other than the server, everything else is fine. Once that guy said floppy drive, I was like, you're done. You're done. I'm done. I'm not gonna do any of this stuff for you. It was a total snake oil BS tool that was just there to drive sales and money. It was stupid. So many schools and businesses got just fleeced with Y2K. It was crazy.
We spent millions of dollars preparing for Y2K,
It's
including
insane.
putting in. We put in 2 huge generators that would run on diesel fuel for a week.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
we brought in on Y2K, we brought in 2 tanker trucks to refill those each one time. So 4 weeks
You got
of
mid-air
power.
refueling for your generators.
Exactly. And then we did. None of us had to do it. The only thing I remember
that's
about
awesome.
Y2K was I got paid during that Christmas holiday for being on call. So double time and a half. And of course, I'm a salaried guy, but we got time and a half, which we thought was really cool for a week and a half. And of course, we didn't do a damn thing.
I think I had like one computer that failed, like because it was just left on over the transfer to Y2K, and we just restarted it and it was fine. It was literally nothing.
Well,
It was fantastic.
We were there monitoring the telephone networks because they were sure that something was going to happen that was going to take the telephone system out, and we needed to be available to come in immediately and start working to fix it. But nothing happened.
Yeah, man, that was the days, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, in 1999, somebody hired somebody that knew somebody that was a project manager, me, and somebody had told the entire Chicago public school system that their entire payroll system was going to go tits up on midnight 2000, and nobody would get paid after that. And literally somebody wrote a check to the city from the government, E-rated funds, $44 million to put all the latest state-of-the-art networking equipment. And I'm telling you, I burned every piece of paperwork I had after that project because it's the biggest illegal rip-off scam by a company called Merlin, who does payroll systems, that you had ever seen. They flat lied about it because we were still replacing payroll systems in 2001. They never failed.
No. They were afraid of the Unix time and date not flipping over.
Right.
There's been all kinds of crap like that, and it's just completely BS.
Yep.
And I think somebody mentioned, replacing the BIOSes or updating the firmware. That was really all that needed to be done.
That was it.
And it was
Yeah.
dead simple. Yeah.
And
But
that
I
was
started
out
out.
back when the BIOS chips were like as large as your thumb, if not bigger. So you could literally just go in there and manhandle it out there and slap the new one in, and maybe swap a battery. Yeah, they're all everything was great back then. Oh, it's crazy, man. It was great. Like that was not even an issue.
Yeah.
I'd have that done in less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, I was literally building.
I mentioned there. Remember the key word I mentioned there was payroll and teachers. I wonder who did all that talking in Washington, D.C. to get the city of Chicago a free $44 million check.
Yeah.
And I was super. Oh, sorry.
I don't know.
Well, I was just going to say, I started out I was there in the early days of Unix in 1992. I actually wrote one of the original SCSI device drivers for the Linux kernel. I've done all kinds of things. So I saw all of this stuff grow up. So by 1998, I'd been working almost 15, 20 years.
I was super thankful for Y2K because that's what kicked off my entire security career. That got my name out there. That got people saying, go to this guy for help. It was fun.
How much of it was real,
my
though?
last job was Pearson Higher Education, and I was the project manager to get Course Compass rolled out. And I didn't finish the project. I had to quit. It was the worst ripoff of colleges and professors I've ever seen in my adult life. I mean, that whole project was a massive screwed ripoff of every college out there. And that's what happens when you have one company monopolize education. Distributive online education. These schools were paying
okay.
one class, one professor.
Cra-
We're talking $750,000 for a textbook.
Yeah, Craig, you're taking this into a whole, like, we were talking IT and stuff, and now you're taking it off into this completely different area that I don't think any of us are prepared to be able to talk to. But it sounds like it was pretty bad, so I apologize you had to go through it.
Wild West. Well, I
Sounds
went
like
back
it,
into
yeah.
construction. I was done with it.
No, I hear you. All right, so I think this is going to be a last call for me because I got to head out of here. Any ham radio questions that we might not have missed? Anybody that just was hanging on? You're just hanging on by your fingernails. This is your last chance. If you want to get in there for a ham radio question, go for it.
Do deer eat those loops on the ground? That's all I'm worried about.
Deer might, but I will tell you what. I used the lawn staples, which is, literally big metal U's that you slam into the ground. My gardeners came, they mowed the lawns. They did not pull up the antenna. I just told them, like, give it a little bit of space. We don't need don't cut it low. Just give it some space. No problem. Rolled right over the top. I'm actually there's a couple of high spots. I'm going to go in and add more staples. Should be fine. Come springtime, the grass is going to grow up over it. Good.
Yeah, mine are
That's
completely
what I'm hoping
disappeared.
for.
And
staples work great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the staples that are the things that Callum recommends, those little plastic things you just push in the ground.
I don't even have plastic things. I got big boy staples. No, I hear you. I love cheap.
I got the Callum ones too. That I tacked my radios down with my DX Commander. They're actually biodegradable.
Right. Well, the thing was, there were so many of them in the package. I just used them, kept using them, and I used them on both my loop on the ground.
So Jesse D has actually, Jesse D, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you. Sorry, I did see this earlier, but I forgot. He is asking for recommended rig control software for the 10-Tech Eagle. So it sounds like, if I remember the earlier one, you're using some kind of computer interface, like a signal, what would be, not a digi-rig. What would be the interface, computer interface?
Signal link.
Signal link. If you're running a signal link, then it's not necessarily going to be 10-Tech related. It's going to be whatever you need to do to make your signal link connect to your software. So Ham Radio Deluxe will probably get you to where you're going, but you're going to have to interface that signal link first. The signal link is probably what it is. FL Rig might do it. That's probably true. That could be intermediary, but Ham Radio Deluxe does everything. You're just going to have to pay for that. If you don't want to do that, then you have to go down the road of FL Rig and then use that as the intermediary for WSJTX or JSA Call or whatever it is you want to run.
FL Rig's only rig control, right? It doesn't do audio.
FL Rig is cat control. Your audio is still going to have to be over whatever you'd have to create a USB sound card. That is true. You might have to use a USB sound card.
And that's why the digi-rig or the signal link would be the right thing to do if you can. And they support the 10-Techs. I don't know if I've ever seen 10-Tech listed, but
remember, you can turn anything into an audio interface with a USB sound card and 2 audio cables. So if you audio out and in 3.5 millimeters or whatever, adapt down to whatever the radio is, go into the USB sound card, and there's your audio interface. You just have to figure out cat control, which if you've got the signal link, that's that.
Yeah. And if you do it with a sound card, then maybe FL Rig or something like that, and you'd have to build some kind of custom serial cable.
Yeah. Assume you probably will have to build something custom.
Well, a lot of those rigs are old school, like what we were just talking about, and they use serial rigs.
This is old school. Oh, I'm getting probably too much noise from Aurora. I don't know. Someone says they're trying to contact me, but I'm not seeing them. So I'm gonna move frequencies again and start calling out.
Mm.
All
so
right.
Jody just dropped something, and it's the Eagle has a USB sound or rig control.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, according to the thing Jody dropped.
Jody, will it work with Ham Radio Deluxe? Because if it's that, then let's just go with the Ham Radio Deluxe. You're good. All right. Question. Remember, if you put question or at Ham Radio Crash Course, that's the fastest way for me to see it. I can't. There's just too much going on most of the time for chats for me to follow everything. Question. I'm considering which log software to use. I'm thinking about Ham Radio Deluxe, N3FJP, Amateur Contact Log, or Log4OM. So of the three, I've only used N3FJP and HRD. N3FJP is great. I've used it for many, many years, and I will continue to use it for things like Field Day and other specific ham radio events. I've also used the general log, just the general, amateur radio log. Works fine. I did switch to Ham Radio Deluxe. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I've used Log4OM too, and I just absolutely love it. It's the logging software I still use. I do have HRD, but I just really have not figured out how to go from Log4OM2 to HRD. So I've kind of just been using HRD for rig control and power control on the 101D.
Oh, gotcha. So I can't comment on Log4OM. It sounds like it's fine though. HRD, I use that for everything. I just plug my radio. All my radios I can connect to HRD. My satellite radio, when I was doing the sat track stuff, that was HRD. My 7610 is HRD. Myriad other things you can do with Ham Radio Deluxe. It is more of a suite of tools than just a logging software. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, I've used all three. Well, 3 of the 4, and same kind of thing. So they'll all do kind of various things. The N3FJP has a lot of extra specific use.
Yeah.
Logging applications that you for Field Day and whatever QSO parties. I think all around though, HRD is probably the best one. The Log4OM is free, where HRD isn't, but HRD does all the digital modes and stuff like that too that you don't get with the Log4OM.
This is a very good question. And there's no right answer to this, so I'm going to go to the community on this one that's still hanging out. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with me on this after chat. The Monster, Monster92 on Twitch. So thanks for watching on Twitch, by the way. Hey, if you're on Twitch and you're not using that Amazon Prime subscription, throw it my way on Twitch. I'd love that. Thank you. Appreciate the support. It'll help me buy a TID radio to do the review. They asked, is there anywhere or content that you recommend to learn ham lingo, like what to say and when? Man, so for me, well, hold on. I'll let you go. Gray Man, you're next. Hold on. So for me, a lot of what I've learned is from being on the air and having people say, that's not exactly the right way to say it. You should probably say it like this. Or let me explain why you might do this, blah, 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 blah. So I listen on the radio a lot. I will tell you, one of my biggest secrets in life is that I was a shortwave listener, not a CB operator before I found ham radio. I listen all the time. I listen to people talk. I listen to what they're talking about. And then I let the radio run in the background and just listen all the time. That is a big thing to pick up some of the lingo that people are talking about, because most of the time you can suss out what they're talking about, what they mean. Other than that, the Discord, you can ask in this Discord, the Ham Radio Crash Course Discord, you can ask people questions like, somebody said this weird acronym I've never heard before. What is this? What does this mean? Why would I use this? Blah, 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 blah. So yeah, I'll go Gray Man next. Go for it, man. Jump in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, listen. That's the best I think tool that you can do is just listen, and for certain type of activities, if you listen to a contest or Parks on the Air and how they handle pileups, both from an activator and a hunter perspective, there's always plenty of videos on YouTube to watch of various things. And then just listen on your local repeaters too. You'll learn a lot there.
And I would say that, and somebody here had suggested, and this is, I think, a good suggestion. Go to a web SDR. You don't have to buy anything or anything. You can just browse
Wonderful
to it
point.
and listen to it. And then if you have questions, if you go, oh, wait a minute, this guy just said Q something something. What does that mean? Quirky QRP and several others sell these little mouse pads that kind of lay all that out for you, kind of explain it. There are little nifty notebooks that have Q codes and some other things that we use in there. But listening is going to get you 99% of it, if not, good 99% of it.
There you go. That's literally my quirky QRP. I got the USB light up one. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this light up. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's super cool, man. I love that quirky QRP comes up with this stuff. So cool. So cool.
Yeah, I got the Gigaparts one, and I got it when Jason had. I used Jason's code, and then it was already on sale during Huntsville.
Yeah.
So I literally got it for like $10, and it's absolutely huge. It's exact size I want for taking out on POTA.
Just remember, everybody watching, if Jason can get you 5% off, I'm getting you 10% off with my code Josh at Gigaparts. I'm just kidding. I think we're both 10% now, but there was a while where I got more percent off for some reason. I don't know.
The thing is, and I'll be honest with you guys.
Yeah.
Tank radio, whatever it is, I don't remember those, and I find it very hard to find them when I'm going to buy something.
Sure.
Whether
Yeah.
your code, even if like I'm going to buy something on Amazon, how do I get to Josh's store? I'm right here. There's the mini PC I want to buy. I just want to click the button and buy, but how would I go through Josh? I don't know any of that stuff.
If you go, so Amazon's really simple. If you go to my store, so if you just take the link, so by the way, if you take the link in the description that takes you to the Amazon store, the fact you took my link means that we're good for 24 hours. Anything you buy is, I get a cut of that.
Where can I go and conveniently always find your link? Because I'm,
it's
I buy on the spur of the moment.
So it's hamradiocrashcourse.com. We have a link for affiliates, all my affiliate stuff.
Okay. See, Jason does too. Like you go live from the hamshack.tv. But if for something
just
I wanted
a quick comment for you, Josh.
Yeah.
Joined your Patreon, and I'm sending you my Amazon Prime money at Twitch right now.
Oh man, thank you. That's so nice. Where did Leia put the affiliate codes? Twitch, Discord. Oh, yeah. So it's all, let's see. There we go. Hold on. I'm going to have to talk to my wife about this whole thing here. That's okay. All right, I'm going to talk to my wife about this. But if you go to hamradiocrashcourse.com, that's the fastest way. If you go to shop, and under shop there's merch, Amazon recommendations, HRCC buy sell trade, because the HRCC Discord we've got a buy sell trade area that we'll link you to, and then discounts and affiliates. So if you go to that'll take you to the Amazon link. And then if, by the way, if you just bookmark this, I'm not saying you have to do this. I'm not saying don't. It's an affiliate code. If you go to the link I just dropped, you can just search Amazon from there, right? And yeah, there you go. That's what I'll say about that. It's an affiliate code though. Affiliate code.
Right. I tried to get one of those, and Amazon would not do it because I want to do more videos on the mini PCs, and I got all these guys just on that one video going, "What's the Amazon link to this?" And I'm
Right.
like, "Okay, yeah, I've got it."
So
and I look at these like every week or two. They change so freaking often.
So
But I'm
Amazon,
trying to do the whole 12-volt shack thing.
I know I know a ton of the YouTubers on the ham radio YouTube that haven't been able to keep their Amazon store going for whatever reason. I've asked some nominal questions to them to like, why aren't you able to keep it going? What's going on there? Jason does probably a better job than I do with his Amazon store. By the way, I think this is, am I showing? Oh, I'm not showing any of that. Hold on. Wait, where is my? Oh, there it is. Okay. So I have these idea lists that are put together. And that's literally what you have to do is you have to build a platform where people are like watching your videos a lot and taking your links to be able to have an Amazon store. And then you have to continually kind of like drive people to Amazon. But what he does that I don't do is he uploads videos here. I'm totally going to start doing that in the future. I just don't have the time to do it right now. But this is literally the secret is you create little idea lists. So if you go back to my soldering website, my soldering live stream that I did, this is just all the little soldering tools that I recommend. All the things that I think you should have, right? I don't know why a Baofeng's there, but sure, why not? And that's kind of like what you do. But you got to like be ridiculous in sharing the Amazon links. It's got to be like in every video.
Right. And the thing was, like, T.O. does it all the freaking time. But I've never seen him once mention his store. If he's got one, I assume he does. But
Don, I think those are affiliate links, not
well, yeah.
the
So
store, which I think is two different programs. They're two different programs.
Oh,
So
yeah,
you
because
can
I don't want to set up a store.
So you can do Amazon Associates also without having to have a influencers following, and then you can have links because I do that right now. So I have affiliate links without having to have the big following, and then you can set up an account on something called kit.co, I think is what it is,
Mm-hmm.
and you can basically make your own store with affiliate links.
Oh, that's interesting.
Well, I mean, again, I don't really care about the store thing, and one of the reasons I
T.O.
don't
does
is
that too.
because the mini PCs will literally disappear within a few weeks, and
Hey,
so
Don,
you've got to constantly refresh it. Yeah.
Don, I was going to say, if you want, just let me know, and I'll get you some affiliate links.
Yeah, I'll give you all the affiliate links you want.
Sure. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Sure, Tim. I'm more interested in what the other gentleman was talking about on how you get signed up.
So when I had, I'm been doing this for too long. I'm disconnected from the youth of tomorrow. I just submitted my YouTube and my social media presence, and then they came back and said, "Yeah, I'll work with you," or "No, we won't." Do they not do that anymore?
Oh, I did. I submitted my YouTube, but they looked and said, "Oh, 300 and some odd subscribers." Nah.
Well, yeah.
They do it for the associates or for the influencers, but associates you don't have to have a following.
I think that's all I am, is an associate. I don't know what I am.
Yeah, I apparently I signed up with the wrong thing. That's what, so I don't know that I clicked the right place or whatever.
All right, I have important stuff. When's the new Band of Brothers dropping? When's that happening? The new one. Come on.
That sounds like something that I don't watch.
Are you
Oh
kidding?
yeah, it's a war thing. A war thing? No, I don't watch war.
Oh my God, Masters of the Sky or whatever that is. That's like the big thing. That's dropping. Like I'm like going nuts right now. Are you?
No, I don't.
Oh, that thing looks really cool.
No interest in war stuff.
Masters of the Skies, Band of Brothers. Master of the
I
Air.
think y'all didn't grow up in the '60s when that kind of crap was on television all the time, and it literally burned us out of it.
You're right. I did not grow up in the 60s.
Yeah,
Me
that
neither,
and
Don.
westerns. Oh God, you couldn't get me to watch another western ever.
Don, did you want to grow up being Marshall Dillon?
No, I didn't. I hated that stuff.
I love
my family watched it, but I couldn't stand it.
By the way, so I hear you, Don. I hear you. When I was growing up, my dad was playing. We were watching Tour of Duty all the time because he was in the Vietnam War, and he was in the Vietnam War, but he had like the cushiest position in the Vietnam War. He was Air Force. He was stationed in Karat, Thailand, and his bombers were flying into Vietnam to drop their payloads. But with that said, when we were in Palm Springs last weekend, while I was like sick, basically, Palm Springs has an air museum. It's a lot of Navy planes, but they had a B-17 that you could physically go into and walk around, and it was freaking awesome. That was one of the coolest things I've done in a really long time. The kids loved it. My wife, we all went through it. And so Masters of the Air is supposed to be the Band of Brothers. So we got Band of Brothers. That was the first one, European Front Army, basically. And then you got Band of Brothers Pacific. That was Marines and Navy. So Masters of the Air is supposed to be, again, I believe, European Front with the B-17s and whatnot.
It's European.
Yeah, it's got to
about
be.
the bomber squadrons.
So
Have
that's
you
going to
been
be
down to the Iowa though, Josh?
What's that?
The Iowa, the battleship.
Yes, I've been to the Iowa. I've also been to Pearl Harbor.
Oh, okay.
I've been on the Iowa while I was
they have
still.
like an amateur radio club on there.
Yeah,
so
I didn't have the time for that. But
I've actually been on the Iowa
I
while I
New
was.
Jersey, and like
Oh
they
my
let
God.
me. They let me
Okay,
play
hold on.
with
I
their
wasn't
radio.
done with. I'm still talking about the damn show. Hold on. So the show is supposed to be about this crew of B-17s and there you go, B-24s. That makes sense. During the European campaign, and guys, so statistically, a lot of people died that flew these bombers because if you think about it, these are not planes that are known for agility. They're carrying 6,000 pounds of payload, and they've got a gang load of 50 caliber machine guns all around them, and everybody's supposed to be doing a job to defend this thing, and they fly in these squadrons. The survival rate was not great, and I'm not even going to bring up ball gunners or tail gunners or anything like that, but should be fascinating. I'm really excited to see this. So looks like it drops at the end of the month here. So Masters of the Air. I think it's an actual series. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
I'm excited.
that's a World War II one, right?
World War II. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead. The other people can go on. I mean, I'm jumping.
Yeah, go ahead. For everybody else that had a comment, go for it, man. Jump in there.
No, I was just going to mention I've actually been on the USS Iowa while it was still actively commissioned.
Oh wow! Really?
Yeah. A friend of mine from high school was also in the Navy, and he was stationed aboard the Iowa. He actually went and checked into the Iowa like a week before the turret blew up.
Wow, that's cool.
But when I was stationed in Norfolk, Virginia, it was home ported there, so I went over and got a tour of the ship.
I had a buddy who worked on the Iowa. Actually, now I think about it, he was an old guy from Purdue, got in the Navy, and then he ended up as an engineer. I think that's right.
Go Boilermakers.
Yeah, the Boilermakers. That's right. He's the guy. Right on. All right. The last thing, I think I'm going to wrap this up, and if the kids are asleep, I think I'm going to watch. Has anybody seen Killers of the Flower Moon? Is that what it's called? Killers of the Flower Moon? Yeah.
Not yet. Waiting for the price to go down.
So I've heard that this is possibly the best Scorsese movie that he's ever made. Has everybody heard that?
I don't know about best.
I've heard there's a lot of people. Oh, did you see
It
it?
was okay. Yeah,
Okay.
I saw it in the theater. Yeah, I mean it's not bad, but it's a little wokey though. You know, it's kind of
Okay.
weird for a
Look.
Scorsese movie.
I think hopefully everybody understands I'm not a liberal or anything like that. What? You said the word. This is the buzz phrase. What is woke to you? What does that mean? And I'm not going to take offense from what your answers are. I just want to hear what you believe woke to be, because everybody has their own opinion on this. Like, what is woke?
I don't even know how to really explain it. It was just it didn't feel like a
Right?
classic Scorsese movie, but it's just it wasn't
it's
bad, like I said.
But like, does everybody
it's
kind of get that like woke is almost like a feeling now? It doesn't even mean anything almost anymore.
It does, or it does to me, but it's
Okay.
basically somebody pushing an agenda that's very closely aligned with DEI.
DEI. What's DEI?
You don't know what DEI? You should be in DEI training almost every year, Josh.
You're in the heart of DEI, Josh, being in California.
Yeah.
Why are all you ham radio operators giving me your acronyms without giving me what they mean?
It's ham radio, Josh. That's why you get acronyms.
Yeah.
What is DEI?
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Okay. Do you know that this ham radio community that you're in right now is one of the most inclusive communities in all of ham radio?
True.
And we're not a bunch of snowflakes. We just we don't crap on each other. That's all that means. So in inclusivity, everybody should be more inclusive. So done. Okay, fine. The diversity and equity, I don't even want to touch equity because I think nobody even understands what that. They don't understand.
Radio is not woke because we don't push agendas on each other.
Oh, they absolutely do. Are you kidding? Come on.
We don't.
No, I'm just
we help each other, but we don't push it.
Okay, maybe in this community we're not pushing an agenda, but are you kidding me that there are not people on HF that are pushing an agenda every day when they get into discussions with people and they're rag chewing? Are you kidding me? They absolutely do push an agenda. It just might be an agenda that you might be more aligned with than people that aren't of that agenda, right? You probably see that, right?
Ever get on 7200 early evening?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a few guys out there that they have some interesting point of views.
So here's the thing. The reality is that no one is free of politicking. You don't have to be a politician to be politicking. And everybody kind of pushes for things to kind of be their way, whether it's subtly or overtly or whatever. And so the inclusivity part of this is everybody's going to try and push for whatever they want. But the reality is that in this community for amateur radio, I don't stand for, or the admins don't stand for either, letting anyone kind of dictate how anyone should talk or believe or feel or whatever. And the point, and always the key point, is that it should be about amateur radio. This is the fundamental whole point of this server, is that it's about that, and this other stuff, you could be really, really passionate about it, but that's not really the point of any of this, is that you just be cool with everybody and chill and don't make anybody feel bad. Gatekeeping, right? Gatekeeping happens on all sides of the political aisle, and I just don't stand for it. I just don't like it.
Yeah, so you do recognize it when it shows up in a movie, right?
Yeah. Well, so, okay. If I may, Don. I hear where you're coming from. The thing is that I view when someone says, "Oh, this is too woke," it's more of a conservative person saying that about a liberal idea that they're pushing forward, and it's very on the sleeve, it's very obvious. But to imply that there aren't the same things that are done in movies that are showing conservative ideals that aren't also very on the sleeve, and we don't have a name for that. It totally exists. It's just a different thing. We don't call it woke.
Right,
it's just pandering.
The whole
I
point,
would say though that
the whole point
I
is,
was just saying that I'm just kind of in the middle,
Great.
politically, and I
Yeah.
found it a little wokey.
Okay.
Yeah, and,
So I will go watch. I will go watch this because I want to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, to me, what it means is that when you're watching that movie, and they're doing something outside the plot to push a political agenda, I don't like that. No matter which side of the aisle you're on, I don't need that. I just want to see the show, for the entertainment. I just want to be entertained. I don't need to be preached at. I will not watch a show that tries to preach at me. That's all.
I feel like okay. So what Don's talking about, I agree that if anybody's doing something politically that takes you out of the story because it's an obvious political like trope that they're like stamping around, I don't like that. If the character that is being displayed is some kind of like ridiculously hyperbolic political person, that's fine, but it can't be something out of character that they've built up. And that's usually what comes through in a lot of these cases. Like Leave the World Behind. Like a lot of people had tons of criticism for Leave the World Behind, which I totally understand. I totally get it. There is numerous situations where the black father and black daughter have, mainly the daughter, has a comment on like don't trust white people. And then Julia Roberts is almost like overtly racist to the point that like I don't even think these are real people, right? I don't even think they're real people. But now, see, here's my flip on this. A lot of people took that and said like, oh, this is an example of woke movies. So I don't think that in this case. I think in the case of Leave the World Behind, those characters were specifically designed and given lines to say to make you not like them. That movie was designed to make you feel uncomfortable, and that there was nobody you really aligned with. Kevin Bacon was the guy that most of us would be like, yeah, that would be my guy, but they only let him be in the movie for 2 minutes. That's the point. That was the point of the whole movie. So it's not wokeist or whatever. It's just that was the emotions they wanted you to feel. And by the way, yeah, there's a ton of woke garbage too. I'm not going to lie about that. But there's also a lot of dumb conservative stuff that exists. I just watched The Big Lebowski. Okay, there's the best take of the the end of this. I love that. Okay, anyway, we went way deep down this whole political thing that I didn't really want to go into, but remember.
Yeah, all I'm gonna say about the movie is the main plot point is white people bad.
Oh, in The Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah. That's the
I
main
mean,
plot point, white people.
I mean, but that's
I know. It's dealing with Native Americans. I get it.
Wait. Yeah. This is actually a historic event. This actually happened.
I know. I get it. But I don't know. I feel
it's not the movie is saying white people bad if white people were bad in the past.
No, they were, but they made it like there's a line of bad and evil, and it kind of crosses it like.
Wait, you don't think that you don't? Okay, by the way, look, just because they made a movie where white people were bad, that doesn't mean that there weren't many instances of like other people being bad too. But in this historic example, white people were very bad, right? I mean, that's true. There's historic example of that.
It's true.
No, I get it. I just think the storytelling could have been a little better. Just in my opinion.
To not make the white people as bad.
No.
I mean,
I don't think I'm like.
I would rather the movie be historically accurate than anything, and if that means it's true to show the okay. I am a strong believer if white people bad in the past. If white people were bad in the past, that doesn't mean I'm gonna be that or that I am somehow failing because of what they did in the past. But yeah, there's a lot of situations where white people were bad in the past. That's just history.
No. And I agree. I'm just saying, like, I think it's a little embellished. Let's put it that way.
Do you know that for sure?
Well, I can honestly say no.
Okay.
And I'm prejudiced. I really like Yaesu radios.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I like
that's
ICOM.
bad. They're both Japanese.
You like Ununs and all that other stuff.
True, but I mean, there's one particular brand of radio I don't particularly care for, but it's I only really own I own two of them. They're
Yeah.
not bad radios. I just prefer the others.
People are precipitously dropping off of the live stream because I'm talking too much about real human life stuff. And this should be about Tam Radio, damn it. So we're going to leave all that. Guys, I'm going to head out here. Oh, my God. Where do I go to get away from all this wokeism?
You're in California.
Oh,
You're in the middle
it's
of
everywhere.
it.
It's everywhere. Where do I go? Wait, what happened? Oh, no, he ended.
You go to sleep.
Go to Starbucks.
Oh, no, I don't like
No,
Starbucks. Their coffee sucks.
It's early for Josh.
Oh,
These
no,
two
it's like 10 o'clock here. I got to go watch a movie. I'm going to go watch that.
That's one here, Josh.
It's after.
Well, I appreciate you guys all hanging out with me. I appreciate that.
No, we enjoy it. We enjoy it. Don't kid yourself. It's a great time.
Just remember, after you get past the 9 o'clock hour on the live streams, it can get a little rough, and we dipped into that a little bit. Go ahead,
You're
question.
an outstanding diplomat.
How do I
Thank
give you my Amazon Prime thing in Twitch?
You have to log into Twitch with an account that links to your Amazon Prime, and then go to the Ham Radio Crash Course on Twitch and hit subscribe. That should do it. All right. Well, if you rolled into the live stream, this is your first time here, right at the end of the last hour. That's a little wild. Sorry about that.
And Jody is correct.
Jody is generally always correct, but I'm not. Josh is only half fired up. Let's go. So there's only two ways you get me full fired up, is when we're fully going after Elon Musk, or someone really gets me tricked into talking about Warhammer 40K. That's usually about the only time you get me fully amped. All right, guys, I think I'm gonna wrap it up.
Only good faction.
What's that?
The orcs are the only faction that is actually not evil.
Because they're physically incapable of evil, yeah, I think you're probably, I mean, other than violence, and they're also untouched by chaos. They cannot be touched by chaos. You're probably right. Yeah. So, you're probably right. I can't argue with that. All right, with that, look forward to Henry Cavill's upcoming 40K series. I am excited for whatever that man puts together. Yes. All right. Oh, Jesse was in the wrong chat the whole time. Oh, no. Heresy. Come on.
I hope it's about the Inquisition. I really do.
Post-heresy man is like the most evil part of all of the Imperium. Come on. All right, guys. I got to go. Take it easy on the Discord. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll talk to you again next week. All right, guys?
See you. 73, Josh. Have a good week.
Thank you very much.
See ya. All right. That'll do it. Thanks for bearing with me. I don't know. Killers of the Flower Moon. I guess I'm going to have to watch it. We'll see. I don't know. Anyway, thanks so much. I mean that. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't already, give me a thumbs up and drop that subscribe. Click the all, because you know that live streams don't always show up as regular video drops. Those are almost like two separate things from a YouTube point of view. And if you happen to follow me on Twitch and you're not using those free Prime subscription dollars, throw them my way. Ham Radio Crash Course. Appreciate you guys. Take it easy. Enjoy the memes. I'll talk to you later. See ya. You laugh, but I think I did an hour alone just trying to explain to everybody what the Primarchs are in 40K. Do you know how long it would take to explain the 40K universe? And it like, how do you start it? Do you start talking about like Horus, pre-Horus heresy? Do you talk about after the fact? How do you talk about after the Horus heresy, where there's no understanding what the God Emperor Man was? And the influence of the Primarchs, where the Primarchs don't exist anymore. They're all demons. And then You try to just define why they view the emperor as a god when at the time he was diametrically opposed to be treated as a deity and that opposed all religion. It's impossible. It's impossible to start post-heresy. Come on. I don't even know what I'm... Like, what are you talking about? All right, everybody, have a great rest of your weekend. Please go play some radio tomorrow, and until I touch you again...